I think it's the wrong one.
Then start the other one.
Okay, let's
just start the other one.
Oh, this one could be the wrong one too. Shit. Ba-doo.
No, I worked really hard on these.
I don't know what you should name them.
I really am not sure why I'm here.
You should delete some.
The old one?
Oh my gosh, everybody talked on mine.
Oh, it's not important. I wish I did. Some people say this is the best part of the show.
It is
That's
fun.
what I say, because, oh my God, Jane.
Somebody put me out of my misery.
Of all people.
What do you mean, people?
What do you mean, people?
What do you mean?
Jane is a people.
I identify as a furry.
I always knew there was something wrong with you.
Scott's trying to erase people's peopleness.
I'm so confused.
This is the new one.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I
No, it is because the volume didn't cut out randomly for no
Oh,
reason.
you're right. You're
But
right.
it does have 87 seconds of flames.
You're right. 87
I do,
seconds.
which I do not
Oh,
care
it
for.
just cut out.
Oh, damn it. It's
Son
the old one.
of-
I told you.
Son of a
When it
gun.
started, did I not say?
I
hey,
worked so hard.
Yep, old one.
I know. Because I
What
said
the
I.
fuck are you talking about?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Sporking News Podcast. My name is Scott, and I am getting rid of that one right now. Delete that video. Oh, shit. Did I delete the wrong one? Oh, anyways, how's everybody doing? It is the dump. It is Saturday night. It is becoming the greatest stream on Saturday nights between 8:30 and like 8:45. That's the algorithm telling you that, not me. But let's talk to I can't believe I'm about to say this, my co-host. How are you, Mad Martigan?
No,
Not
I know what you're
co-host.
doing, Jane.
You're like a backup host.
I see, Jane. I appreciate you doing that, but I know it's because you stepped on my part in the intro. Like the intro, if we're known for anything here at Matt's Dump, is that our intros are some of the best.
Okay,
ever.
he's done. Anyways, Mad's head gets big. And next on the list is the guy who just found out he can use multiple cameras. That is Culture Casino.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. We hope you enjoy the dump this evening. I know
I don't like this new angle.
You don't like this new angle?
I don't like the whole dark thing in the back. That's weird.
You're like
This
8-bit.
Wow, that looks weird.
Yeah, it's really
Oh,
bright.
All right, thanks for
need
being
this.
here tonight. It was great to see you. Oh, and next up, we have the voice of reason, Jane Theory.
Hello.
That was quick. That was to the point. Thank
All I
you,
have to
Jane. Thank you. And maybe with a little fire, we have Mark with a C.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How
when I'm
are
on a
you?
plane, don't talk to me.
Oh, nice.
I just want to put that out there.
Wow.
Nice. We must ask
Only
for-
when I'm on a plane. And I'm
only
flying.
a plane.
Yeah.
I know that has something. I know I heard something about this, but what does that entail? What happened on a plane?
Well, there were no snakes on that plane.
I don't know. We'll find out later as we go on. Next off, we have Ivan Nick something CEO.
No,
Netflix.
Netflix.
It's Ivan Koloff, Netflix CEO.
Got it.
Oh, internet peoples.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. What time is it where you are?
It is 7:30. I am in the U.S. I snuck in through Canada.
Nice. Thank you for being here.
Oh,
Thank
man.
for
If
being
you
here.
would have went through the southern border, you would have got a free phone.
Oh,
Throwing
snap.
that out there, yeah.
Yeah. And maybe some, I don't know.
I am having a hard time
drugs.
blending in there.
And next up,
Yeah.
Toxic Man Flu.
Oh, my.
I heard that Matt likes dark holes in the back, so
Oh my
okay.
God.
Sounds
I
about
do.
right.
I like Outer Range. I'm really digging it.
Yeah, I'm about to start watching that myself.
You just
And
threw that one in there.
our Australian representation, Mr. Grant Gregory.
Hello, diversity's finally here.
Yes.
Glad to see that you've got a nice diverse panel for once.
I do. I mean, it's always Saturday is my diversity panel, I guess.
Oh my goodness.
We have a guy with long hair that
Wait,
might be a
does
bear.
that make me a diversity hire? Is that what
Oh
you're
my
saying?
gosh.
You are the best
come
black
on,
guy I
Scott.
could find. I don't know.
Lord
Isn't that what I'm
almighty.
supposed to say?
Well, you're not wrong.
Hey! Bye,
That's-
YouTube.
That's what I like about Mark, his humbleness.
I love Mark.
He is fire.
Real
He is
down-to-earth
fire.
guy.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
We are on
I'm
down to earth.
suddenly
Yes.
very uncomfortable.
Oh well, don't worry. You're bald. It's okay. I don't even know what that meant. StreamYards.
Andy made
Neither
it
do
worse.
we.
StreamYards. We're on StreamYards. We're on Twitch, and we are live on what's that other one?
YouTube.
Odyssey right now,
Yeah, but we're also on YouTube.
and that YouTube. And at some point, we'll be on Rumble because we're blowing up, people.
Yes,
Blowing
we are.
up.
No,
So-
no, we are not blowing up people. Let's make that
No.
clear. We are not blowing up people.
That's
There was a
also-
comma in there.
Walk that back.
Right.
Walk that back.
That is true. Okay.
Except for Mad, who loves that.
No.
Casinos in the rain, casinos in the rain, no fucks given. Casinos in the rain.
Oh.
I thought we needed that for a break. Thank you,
Aw.
Mad. Thanks, Mad. We got 30 people watching.
I did the vocals myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
No wonder my
I went
daughter
out
confuses
T-Pain.
him with a koala.
Is it me or
He
does
raps
auto
and he
tune
sings.
make
No, no.
everyone think they can sing, Mark?
What's that?
Why are you asking Mark?
Because I thought he was just about to say something and I cut him off. Wait a
No, I
minute,
said
where are
Matt,
you
he
going
raps-
with that?
He raps and he sings.
Oh,
Yeah.
he
Multi-talented.
raps
He's
and he
multi-talented.
sings.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you lay us down with one of your beats,
Lay
buddy?
us down.
With one of my beats, or you want me to rap? Like,
Sure.
my name is Matt, and I'm here to say it's 'cause of my happiness. You think I'm gay?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Sorry,
Look here,
everybody.
brother.
Yeah. I regret asking him that. All right, so we're gonna start off tonight with maybe
Word
we
to
won't
your
even-
mother.
Yeah, Holmes. Maybe not the article, but we might read just a part of this because I can't believe 465 million for the first season of Lord of the Rings from Amazon.
I mean, I'm sure it's all on screen.
I don't see
By the
where
look
it's
of the trailer.
going.
Look,
Thank you, Jane.
They didn't spend anything on the trailer.
look, that's just the first season. I mean, and they spent more than this. I mean, I would estimate that they're probably close to $1 billion already with a B.
Jesus, man. Come
So,
on.
are you thinking this is just for the cost of filming and
Yes.
and so marketing and everything else will
Yeah,
put
I
it
think-
over a bill?
I think that successive seasons, if there are any,
Didn't they pay $500 just for the fucking rights?
exactly. Yeah.
Are there
make
any
that
big
back.
names in this production? Do we have any
No.
big name stars or actors that they're paying?
No.
Or a
The
bunch
only
of nobodies, right?
Well, Tolkien is a big name.
Nazanin Bondiani is
Thank you.
probably the only known actress in this whole thing.
I don't
I'm
know
sorry,
that
who
is.
she-
Say
yeah.
it again.
Nazanin Bondiani.
What else has she been in?
Bless you.
She was in, let's see. She was in How I Met Your Mother for a season and change. She was in.
Who was she in that? Because I'll know that.
Was she the mother?
How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was she
was
the
she
mother?
the mother?
No, that was Christina Milioti.
She dated Barney prior
She
to
was
Barney
the-
going back after Robin.
Was she
She
a
was the
stripper?
Indian girl.
Oh,
By
Kind of,
Barney,
yeah,
do
but not
you
really.
by Barney do you mean someone else? Because Barney wasn't dating anyone really.
what are you talking about?
Well,
Yeah,
he
he
said
was.
Barney,
Friend
I
or
have no
something?
idea.
He had a couple long-term
Yeah, yeah,
relationships
he had a
during the
couple.
show.
but he never went after Robin, did he?
Yes, he did.
They
Yeah, he
ended
married
up
her.
together. Yeah, they
They
had
married.
children, did they? No,
No,
they didn't.
they
have
had no
children.
kids.
All right.
So
Is
No.
this
Back,
a show?
back to the
The
topic.
unfortunate
Back-
shadow.
yes.
Is this
She was
real
also
life?
She was also.
Thank you,
also-
Tom, for being here.
She was also in Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. One of the
Which Mission Impossible?
I don't know. One of them.
Okay, great story, guys.
Yeah, and she was set up to date her through the church.
What?
What?
Can we
What?
get back to the article?
What the
So
fuck are you
Amazon.
talking about culture?
Thank God it's him
making
for
it up.
once.
Just remember, Culture's the one that's supposed to keep the stream on the rails.
Speaking of on the rails,
Welcome
Eric
back.
K with a $2 super chat.
Oh, And it
the
says
only rail I'm interested right now in one that is holding up drinks.
I thought you were going somewhere else.
Yeah, me too.
Barney was married to Betty and committed. That is true. Thank you, Eric K. That is true.
Married her.
Well, he was, but he probably won't be in the remake.
I'm trying to remember her
No.
name in the show.
No.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see.
So nobody knows who this trick is, but she's the biggest name that they have on this show.
I think that's the point.
Right.
But see,
yeah.
like that doesn't necessarily bother me because I didn't know anybody in Lord of the Rings in the original films.
Right.
Viggo
Sean
Mortensen.
Aston?
You
I
didn't
know.
know
Elijah Wood.
Oh, Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
I guess I
Ian
can see what you're
McCallum.
saying.
Oh, see,
though.
but the point is that we saw where the money was going with the big screen
Right.
one with Peter
Right.
Jackson. You know, with this, I got screensavers that look more impressive than what I've seen so far in this trailer
Yes.
and everything. And you're talking about $465 million, my ass. I don't
That's-
think so. No.
Hey, real quick, Mr. Tickle Trunk with a Canadian $5 super sticker, and it is a pair chilling out saying, "How's it going?" It's going well, thank you. I think it's starting off fine. We're finally rolling.
Yeah, I mean-
Jane, now we just found out House of the Dragon spent less than 20 mil an episode.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting 10. So that's half the amount, less than half the amount.
That's fucking insane. That's a movie budget.
Yeah.
No,
But,
it's
I mean, at least with House of the Dragon, I mean, you're dealing with sort of a more practical world. It's more
20 million an
realistic.
episode, Jane.
This
20
is
million an episode.
supposed to be fantasy, right?
Yeah, but
So-
Jane, don't forget at this time there was like 20 some odd dragons in Westeros.
Pure CGI though.
Yeah. So what are they? Okay, so what is it?
I mean, this
Then
is
practical
more,
sets like
this is a
building.
fantasy adventure with the peak elf world. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't understand. I guess I'm not seeing in the clothing, in the hair, in just how it's styled and how it's being directed. Apparently, from what we've seen so far, I
Mhm.
don't know what they're spending the money on.
Canadian
Here.
hobbits, the antlers.
This is almost twice what it costs for them to make the original trilogy.
Wow,
Inflation. Ever heard of it?
that's the number one
Disgraceful.
comeback.
I mean, he's an American. Of course, you know what inflation is.
It's true. It's true.
Diversity is expensive.
It's
Each one of the original films was under $100 million.
Yep.
really,
Probably paying reparations on this one.
In
I just-
90s money.
and yeah, but that's late '90s money, dog.
That's
But they
right.
don't even look
Yeah.
good. Like that's the thing I don't understand. That the wigs are terrible.
Tried.
From what we've seen so far. The clothing is just cheap. Look, it came from Ross. Like I don't understand what. Like literally,
shop
we need
for
to see
less.
an accounting. We need an
Dress
accounting.
for less. That's it.
Dress
If
for
it
less,
had
that's
hired
good.
the Weavecino group, their wigs would have been better.
Well, I mean, it is, the figures were released by the New Zealand government. Now, if they had any government contracts, a wrench can cost like 12 grand, at least here in America.
Maybe they didn't have as good of as like a sand guy as Disney does, because Disney, their sand guy, like, look how many shows they've gotten out of that. Maybe they just don't have that kind of a guy.
Mr. Tickle Trunk for a
All right.
Canadian $5. You missed on that one. Man, we're killing it tonight. Think about how much good in the world you could have done by spending $1 billion elsewhere instead of making this garbage ice creaming token.
It's true.
I don't
They could have sent
think
it
it's
to
the
Ukraine.
money.
Yeah.
I think we
I-
send Ukraine plenty.
I would have been fine with
Going
them
on over
spending
there.
the money if I could see it. Like if I don't look, I wanted to see Tolkien's world again. So I was perfectly fine with them spending whatever you want to spend.
Yeah.
Just like with Game of Thrones, blank check, go for it. you know?
15 seasons, please.
Jane,
I-
you are seeing Tolkien's world again.
No, that's not what this is.
It's a
No,
different.
I didn't say
world.
Tolkien.
Token. Oh,
There
It's
we
a
go.
different.
gotcha. Nice.
You get one a week, and that was it.
Yeah.
I don't-
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't think the money is the
That was
issue.
the best joke in the whole show.
I don't think
Yep.
the money's the issue. It's the people that are using it that, like, you know what I mean? It's like how it's being utilized, like, and the people that are in charge, not only of the finances, but
Cocaine ain't cheap.
of the writing. And
I swear
Don
to God, I was
Simpson's
thinking
been
the
dead
same
forever.
Thing, Tom.
So you think the writing staff is getting paid?
Don Simpson
Substantially?
dead?
What are the odds?
I mean,
Caring for competent writers. I don't think so.
yeah, well, you might not. They
Clearly
might
not.
be getting paid. They're just not. You know, they're again the message before the actual like the
Well,
token.
they're not
product.
even doing these like TV shows anymore. That's the thing that bothers me. I mean, the prime example would be, you know, no pun intended, Star Trek Discovery, right? Like going back, the reason they supposedly got rid of Brian Fuller is that the show was costing too much. And then they bring in Kurtzman, who comes in and literally spends the budget of a motion picture on each episode. I mean, that's the beginning of this crap. I remember when Deadwood got canceled, not because the show didn't have viewers, it was beloved.
Yeah,
It got canceled because the fucking show cost too much.
Well,
Can
no,
you imagine about
that's-
spending what, $3-4 million an episode or something like that? Like now they're spending $20 million. That just makes me go, are you fucking insane? Do you
I
realize
think
you could
Firefly.
make 3-4 movies with that money?
I think Deadwood was canceled because the set burnt down, and it was the cost of what it would cost.
Yeah,
like
rebuild
it was
it,
the
but still,
still, it was worth it. Well, that's what kills me too. And it's
It's
not
all
even.
Swearington's fault.
Well, it's not even proven like Game of Thrones deserved after a couple seasons, not the last few seasons, but after season 1 and 2 to get a bigger budget. They started out with a smaller budget.
And
That's
did
why
fantastic with it.
right, and they did fantastic with it. They are giving these people that haven't proved anything yet a blank check, like you guys were saying. That's ridiculous.
Deadwood was $4.5 million an episode.
Sorry about that.
sorry, Jack.
Sorry about that. We'll come back to that one. E. Clay Thomason, 99 cent, and it is ice cream swirl. Chocolate. Thank you
An
very
ice
much.
cream squirrel.
Squirrel?
Swirl.
Well, now I'm just picturing a squirrel made out of ice cream.
Yeah, me too.
That got pooped on? Okay.
Why do you have to poop on it?
Well, because that's what the emoji, everyone thinks the emoji's that.
No.
No.
Come on, you guys know what I'm talking
You
about.
don't poop on the squirrel?
It's 95% pure oxygen. Everybody.
It's the ganja, it's the marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're trying out new things here at the dump.
Randomly with no context.
None
Yeah.
at all. None at all. I just wanted to play it.
It's just been burning a hole in your playlist.
There's
You're
like
just
a
"Oh, I wanna
dude.
play
There's like 2 or 3 that I just want to hit the button on.
It's like,
I-
wait, did someone say a
Spread 'em
Val? Here,
out.
I've got
Let her
something.
rip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
just
spread
let-
them out. Spread them out.
Yeah, you know what, Mr. Grant Gregory,
What?
I am not allowed to use those. But I am not allowed to use those. You pulled the trigger because I would hit him every 5 seconds. The one.
What about
what the-
random and doesn't make sense? That doesn't define this show.
Well, that kind of defines it.
That is pretty true. That
Exactly.
is pretty true.
That's accurate.
Yeah, it is accurate. So we all in agreement. Way too much money for a first season. At
For
I
what
least.
we've
disagree-
seen
no.
so far, it doesn't seem to make sense because
Right.
there are just too many criticisms of every aspect of this show to explain anything that they're spending this money on. I just don't see it. I mean, they could surprise us,
Mhm.
but you would expect that to be at the forefront of their teaser trailer.
It probably all went to administration costs, right? So we spend way more on education per child than anyone else in the world. It's not even close. But the majority of that goes to administration costs, right? That's why we get superintendents that make $450,000 a year in Podunk, Kentucky, and retire with $4 or $5 million in the bank, right? Or Fauci gets $450,000 a year in retirement.
He
Right,
earned
so-
it. YouTube.
No, he didn't.
Stop it,
Scott, grow some balls.
Susan.
So,
Don't cancel us because of him.
This isn't my channel. I don't care.
F that little
anyway,
roach.
I
Yeah,
know he's such a piece
exactly.
of shit.
it needs to burn.
Mhm.
But
Legal
how
fees
much of this is
potentially, too.
administration cost? Right. I'm sorry, Jane. What?
No, I was just going to add to that, legal fees as well. But that could be the
Exactly.
case. It could be that they're talking about the rights that they were able to acquire, legal
Right. And it's not like
fees.
they could go down to New Zealand and film at Hobbiton or whatever that stuff that's down there, right?
I
Because
thought
of
they
the coup.
I thought they bought the rights for 500 million. Which
That was something
be-
Are they
separate. I
including
thought.
that?
yeah,
No,
yeah. Before
I
this
don't
ever
know.
started, before they even had an idea of what
'Cause-
they wanted to do.
Right. They were telling us it was like a few months ago, we reported here, breaking news, 50 million an episode. Someone was trying to tell us at first, and then they were able to bring it down. But it doesn't seem like they brought it down much. I mean, it's 10 episodes, right?
It's not making sense. I'm just trying to figure out what could be included in this bill.
Maybe they built an entire town like they did Hobbiton, and then they had really, really shitty builders, so they just paid through the roof. I have no idea. I'm not a what do you call it, money person. I don't know where it could have gone.
Maybe they built Woketon.
They could be doing the same thing.
How do we even get here?
Yeah,
How do we
what?
even get
Please,
here? You know
Mark,
what I mean? It's like
explain.
I remember
My car.
the old Rankin Bass Hobbit, Lord of the Rings cartoons, and I love those.
Oh,
You know,
so
like
good.
I said, nothing can take the place of a good functioning imagination. If you can appeal to our imagination, we can take it from there. I don't need you breaking the bank. I don't need you spending hundreds of millions of dollars to throw some crap up on the screen that's not even going to have half-ass decent writing. I'm not going to be able to get into it anyway.
Amen.
You know, just give me the good stuff that sparks us up, you know, imagination wise, and our sense of adventure and the hero's journey. You know, we're a fandom that you know, we do a lot of the work. We do a lot of the heavy lifting, you know, with our own imagination.
Well,
You know,
is it
so-
possible? Is it possible that this is just like the ground for like what Disney does? You know, they built one set for Mandalorian and they use it for Book of Boba Fett and everything else, and they just kind of changed the lens a little bit to make it look different. But everything's sand. Like, could this just be like they
Exactly.
built all the sets and everything for during this season? So any show after this is going to be taking place, like they're going to be filmed at the same location, but they won't have to rebuild anything because it's already built.
Could be. But the other thing too, though,
But that's
it still
smart,
needs
though.
to look beautiful, though. Like, I mean, the thing about Disney Star Wars and their sequel trilogy, at least it looked good. Like, you could see where the money was spent there, not on writing, but
they're
on
not-
everything else. Here, you don't even get that much. I mean,
They're not even amortizing the cost of the season because they're moving the show next year. That's another thing I heard.
Oh,
Out of New Zealand.
mm,
Culture, you probably heard about that.
It was to
Yes.
Canada, wasn't it?
No, they wore out their welcome. I mean, I'm not going to say it exactly that way, but yeah, they screwed up and they moved the show. That's true.
Yeah.
To sunny old England.
Right. It's going to go to England. They said but they tried to say it was about cost. They were trying to make it cheaper, and it was too hard to keep it in New Zealand, even though that world would look perfect there.
how does that make sense? What are you going to do in England?
It's going to rain.
It's going to look dreary.
Newsflash, people in Hollywood never do anything that makes sense to anybody but themselves.
Yeah.
That's true.
You can depend on that.
That is true. That is
Hello.
true. All right.
I agree too.
Thank you for agreeing. We're going to move on,
I mean,
though. Oh,
I just
go
want
ahead.
to say too, the Last Jedi, like Jane was saying, the Last Jedi,
Which is still filming.
That's true.
I mean, it looked good, you know, like as far as like cinematography and all that stuff is
Yeah.
concerned. But I still ended up with a raging like hatred by the end of that movie. It
Yeah.
made me feel terrible.
Did it, though?
Looked good, but
Did
it
it?
did.
Did it? I mean,
Only
you're on
because
one.
you had a problem with horses in space.
no, that's Rise of Skywalker.
That's Rise of Skywalker. But like Last Jedi, you were on either the ship or you were on the island pretty much. And then you went to Salt Hoth. Like, I guess it was the color dynamic and stuff was
No, I
really...
agree. The production design, the cinematography, all that shit in
Yeah,
Last
yeah.
Jedi looked great.
Yeah.
We saw
I mean, it
Wizard
kind
of
of
Oz.
looked like a Star Wars movie. It just didn't
Kinda.
feel like one.
It
It
just
didn't have
didn't
the
feel like
story of
one.
one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But my God, was
How many
Canton
drones
Bike
did you-
great?
Can't fight. Oh, yeah. Why? What am I talking about? Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. We are going to move on, though. We are going to talk about...
Speaking of fantastic,
Oh, Mr. Tickle Trunk for Canadian $5. Thank you, my man.
Get your
Uh,
tickle trunks out.
They can't even do diversity right. Instead, look to non-white myths. There's gold in Indian or African myths. Nah, paint that elf black instead.
Well, not even just
Absolutely.
that. Like
Yeah.
in one of my videos, I acknowledge they're not going to do that. I mean, we have to accept that they're not going to explore the rest of the world when it comes to promoting or writing or publishing these sorts of stories. But if you're going to center it in Europe, you can still have diversity done the right way.
Yep.
Even in Tolkien's world, you have dark-skinned people.
Yep.
So why not just show us more of those people in the story? Because a lot of fans do want to know what's going on on all these places we haven't seen. You could have explored that. You chose not to do that.
Right.
Same thing with Game of Thrones. It's like they don't understand that if you wanted to tell a story, even set in the Middle Ages, in the real world, you could have and introduce diversity in ways that make sense from a historical perspective. They don't care. They're not going to do anything more than is absolutely like the bare minimum. And for them, the bare minimum is just flipping either a gender or a color and calling it a day.
Yep.
Anybody want to add on to that?
Well, that much is obvious. They're not invested at all in what they say they are. The concept of diversity and inclusion is just a virtue signal. I think we've all established that.
Well, I think they messed up on it too. I read an article earlier today about how the Amazon's diversity like guidelines or whatever is like they have to be like representative of the character that they're supposed, like their actor or actress is supposed to be representative of the character they're supposed to be playing. And this one that they put in there with red hair, like was supposed to have red hair and be white. It is not. Like they went against it, but it's okay though because it was a minority that they replaced this redhead white chick with. So technically, it doesn't mess with their guidelines.
Oh yeah, that one. So
it was Wheel of Time. That's the one. The Wheel of Time new. The one that they just.
Yeah, bring up that article. So that was you, Toxic, right? That brought that up?
Well, that reminds me of the Willow casting where we heard of the trans actress who's playing the mother to another character. And I'm like, wait a minute. I think that part should be given to ScarJo.
Yeah.
If they're going to play that way, why not? I agree.
Well, that's their own guideline though, right? It's supposed to like it's supposed to be representative of the character that they're playing. Like you don't want to have a non-wheelchair bound person playing a wheelchair bound person, or like that's why they go out of their way to try to do these things. But when it comes to a redhead chick, they're like, don't worry about that one. There's only 5 of them left.
Even when they have the opportunity to do something with diversity, again, the right way, they refuse. Like the Wonder Twins, apparently, they've cast people who are clearly white in these things. I mean, they're aliens, but they don't look like white people.
Let alone think about the fact that the Wonder Twins are the dumbest idea ever to bring to the screen.
Yeah,
but
just ignoring that part for a second. Like, this is the worst set of characters you could have brought. But if you're going to do it, you could have cast them as Asian or something. I don't know. Maybe that's too stereotypical, but it's like they have
on the cartoon, they did kind of give them that kind of a look, though. I mean,
right.
They did, yeah.
Well, as we all know, aliens are most likely Asian. No? Am I alone in that one?
No, you're probably right.
How I got something we can eat up time while we wait on something. Do you think like aliens are bipedal, or do you think it's just going to be something so far out of our like ability?
No, I think they're bisexual.
I mean, they could be like a slug.
I think most aliens live in Mad's rectum.
I'm trying to kill time, so we could have took that question a little bit more serious.
Oh, sorry. So,
I thought he did.
Having read a series of books from the 60s by a gentleman named Ron White, and it's the hospital book omnibus series.
Tater salad?
No, not
Different
Tater salad. Ron White. Different Ron White. It was about a hospital ship in space that had to deal with different sentient beings that breathed different atmospheres, that lived in water planets and things and stuff like that. So life finds a way, right? They go down into these deep holes in the ocean and they pull out these fish and other things that have developed without eyesight because it's so dark. So life's going to find a way. So I don't think that there's any way that somebody traveling the incredible distances that it takes to get to Earth from somewhere else in this galaxy, right, is going to show up and look exactly like us. It's just cheaper to film the movies.
Well, but that's even thinking that, you know, if you're going to travel through space, you're going to do it in a linear sense rather than an interdimensional travel situation.
Right, so
Something.
Well, not
there's-
just that, but going off of what Toxic's saying, like we have this inability to like not be able to understand that we are not the center of the fucking universe. Nobody really gives a shit about us. We are 2 steps away from being monkeys. Like they really don't care. If there are aliens out there, that's why they give a shit about the cows more than us, if that's the truth, because we are boring. Like
yeah.
The whales. It's the
I-
they
whales.
look at us and they go, all we do is eat weird shit and watch porn.
I think it was Degas type. What is it?
Neil
deGrasse.
Neil deGrasse
that's the
Tyson.
one. Yeah, I think he was the one that said like so the difference between like smartness between like us and like the chimpanzees is like 1%. But imagine that in the opposite direction, like between us and the aliens, it's just
That's
like
what I'm
1%
that's exactly what I'm trying
different.
to say.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
if anybody
to them,
could travel
we're like,
through space,
yeah.
interstellar space, if they could do that, there are millions. Maybe
We have
they could be
nothing to
so far.
offer them.
Yes,
That's my
Right.
point.
They
Yeah.
could be our descendants, assuming we don't kill ourselves in the next few years.
right. A lot of
coming
people
back
do
to the
believe like when
future.
you talk about that stuff, it's future or interdimensional travel, like beings.
Yeah.
That's why like they're there and then they're gone type thing.
Mhm.
I find that shit really
I
interesting.
But
I
our-
also
our
think
best
that that's
defense-
Ghost.
I heard
Yeah,
you
they
don't
could be
talk shit
ghosts.
to Neil deGrasse Tyson on a plane or he punches you.
Yeah, there was something about that, right?
I think they're just angels, but that's just me.
So
Or
the
they
best
could be
defense that
super
we have-
intelligent, super strong, super everything in the size of ants, and we just step on them.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that a lot of it, like maybe like the multiverse bleeding over into each other, and that's where you get ghosts and you see all these different like sightings that you can't really tell because
Yep.
like the worlds are kind
Mandela
of
effect.
bleeding over. Exactly, yeah, it's just bleeding over into
Yep.
each other.
Elon is also trying to have us put ourselves into computers, so it could be computer uses in the future.
Right, and like
Matrix.
people are,
But it wouldn't. That's the thing. It wouldn't be you.
That's what I
Everything
hate
that
about that.
Everything that is you isn't in there. It's a copy of it.
I disagree.
when your body dies, Jane, this Jane is gone. Not this,
I
your
think
Jane. But that,
Technologically, we may get there where we can capture consciousness and transfer it.
I'm not talking about
I'm
capture
down with
consciousness.
that.
I'm saying, but the difference is the version of you that is here right now. If you were to download you into a computer, that's a different version of you.
I think that's true of today's technology.
Right,
I don't
but if
think
we
that'll
can-
necessarily always be the case.
I
So
back
you
the
think that
copy.
one day
or
it's
capture.
possible to kill God. Is that what you're saying?
We already have.
No,
That-
no, what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You don't
no,
think-
I think that's kind of what you're implying there, because if you take the soul of
think
a
so.
person and you can artificially or naturally, whatever, transfer it into something completely different,
Mhm.
then you're discovering immortality.
But
Correct.
know,
But is that
and-
what God wanted us to
are we,
do?
are we talking
Well, what it is
consciousness, or are we
it's
talking
not-
about soul in a theological sense? Because those,
It's not
I feel like those are
killing
two different
God.
things.
It's
Yeah,
not
they are
killing
different.
God. It's recapturing the thing that he took from us a long
Okay.
time ago.
Oh,
Perhaps,
culture.
perhaps.
Against his will. Wouldn't
That's
it be?
true. It may put us at odds with God.
Yeah, I'm not.
And
I'm
the
not
war
This
was
is,
God.
this is like some pet cemetery type
Give
shit.
him a
I
sec,
mean, if
culture.
you, yeah, it's like you're gonna end up being some perverted, never intended to be version of yourself. We're all meant to go from whatever
that?
this is
Carbon.
to our judgment. You know, otherwise we could just be down here just murdering everybody because there's no sense of accountability for anything. What does it all matter? We can do whatever we want.
jump
I
in.
I
You
don't
can
know
have
if we judge
morality
the-
Culture.
outside of religion.
Give culture
Yes,
a jump.
That is true. That is true.
Okay, so this brings us to this one strange question, right? That I want us all to think about, because this goes back to the Star Trek transporter beam situation, where you
Oh,
are
right.
disintegrated or disassembled
Molecular.
atomically,
The Willy
and
Wonka.
then moved as energy somewhere, and your pattern is reassembled. So, did you cease to exist? Yes.
Yes.
Did you exist in a new form elsewhere? Yes. So is that a new you? Did the other you die? It's
Yes.
questions. It's the same conversation that we're having here, because if you can take consciousness and move it into an inanimate thing that you essentially begin to animate, which again is what Jane's talking about.
Mhm.
you're essentially destroying the original you. You killed you. You successfully killed yourself to become another thing.
But again, I agree with Mad that the soul, the
Mary
idea
Shelley
of the
asked these questions 300 years ago.
right, that's true. But the
they
spiritual
were dumb.
soul is something different than the consciousness. So
I-
maybe
yeah.
that the thought of me would go somewhere, but my soul. I get what you're saying because
So in Star Trek, did they all become soulless?
I believe so. Since and
Well,
Discovery
the thing about
proves
Star
it.
Trek that never I understood is yes, you're right about the transporter. Why don't they just use that for medicine too? Because how many times have they used a transporter to remove a mutation or something else from somebody? It's
Would
like,
it-
why don't they just use it more often in their medical industry? But
Would it
whatever.
like if they got shot? Would it reassemble it correctly? You think?
think
I don't know
it's
if it
more
works that
important
way, but-
you transfer it in as a whole entity in whatever state for whatever
But
reason.
they have like pulled out like okay, they've used the transporter before to pull out like alien entities and
Oh, I see what you're
saying.
other
That is true,
diseases and stuff like that in certain cases. And I think
So,
even
like
one time
cancer,
they used
leave
it
it
to remove a
behind.
tumor. I think if I'm not mistaken, one time. I don't know. There's a lot of
It is
different
not a tumor.
That's
It's not a
interesting.
tumor.
And
I
if they took your soul as a man, if souls are gender, specific, and some clown took your soul as a man and put it into a female host or a female body, would you
I
be a
wouldn't leave the
tranny at
house.
that point?
I wouldn't leave the house.
Well, I
Um,
think that's the point. Like, though, like, I think the soul is a theological concept versus like the consciousness. But I think right now that our consciousness is so intertwined with our brain and our body, because everything that we do is actually a reaction to things around us that our body, like everything happens before we think about doing it. Right?
Yeah.
It's almost like a reactionary thing of us thinking about what to do because we're already doing it. Everything is like a reaction. So like for you to separate the consciousness that is you, by the way, the mind body problem has been around for a very long time.
Just so you guys know.
What about the altered carbon type thing where they took the discs and like it would re-upload? Like
I love that idea.
it was intense though to think about. Like
Well, we've gotten to a point where we've kind of figured out that the human brain is much like a hard drive, right? Like we've even gotten to the point where you can hook things up and they're starting to figure out how to fix blindness and deafness and other things through that means, like to tap into the brain. And it's kind of scary in a way, but
it is
but
But it's
because
also
then it makes
kind
you
of
wonder what they
amazing.
can download into us as well.
exactly.
Well, I think that we've raised a couple of generations of people that don't know how to deal with death.
That's true.
And we've got some people that think that they're going to live forever, and they're going to be sadly disappointed, just like I was with my flying cars and cure for cancer and all the stuff that they were telling me when I was growing up in the
Biden
60s,
time.
70s, and 80s.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was gonna be
on
fixed.
it.
slave by now.
I don't think
We're
it's a
robots anyway.
generational thing, though. I mean, from the very beginning, I mean, I think for as long as there's been consciousness in mankind, we've always thought about how to prolong life, and we've always
Well,
done
maybe
everything to do
1/10 of
that.
1% of the population, maybe even less than that, has thought about that. Everybody else has just been really worried about what they're going to eat next.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I mean,
to a
but we've
certain
been looking
point,
up
yeah,
at the
but
stars.
we're past
I mean,
that.
yeah.
This is a wonderful conversation we can have in the Western world in a country that I can go down and get anything that I want at the grocery store.
Well, not
But
for
if we
very
were to
much
go
longer.
to another country where they have a lot of trouble getting water, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, you're
does it
talking about
Exactly.
individual experiences, though. I'm talking about collectively as a human race. Just look at the
collectively,
different
yes, there are
religions
many
of
countries across the
mankind.
world where they are trying to survive day to
You
day.
don't think
understand
they
that.
think about anything beyond their minute to minute
Survival.
living? Like
Exactly.
because back when we were hunters and gatherers and going from place to place following the game, they were still thinking about what is the world, what is
Right,
life,
but you're
what-
using
what are
the
these
term
stars?
they to cover all of them, which is not true. You can't use generalities and try and
Right,
argue
they might
these
not
kind of
use that
things you're
pronoun.
arguing.
But you can talk collectively about the human experience over extended periods of time.
Only through history, but as you look at that lens over time, as we look back in time, we lose so much context as to what they're doing and what happened back then, that to sit there and say that they were collectively thinking of this is probably the biggest hubris I've heard in the last 3 years.
Well,
But
I
they're
think human
so-
religions are the perfect example of
Yeah.
exactly that, because
They've been
that's
talking
what you
about it.
see the world over.
Yeah, and
Human
religion has
beings
been
talking about how
for-
they can learn more about the afterlife, learning how they can extend life. learning how they can somehow create a path between the two.
But
I mean,
also,
that's been a part of
So
the human
go back to the history
experience
thing, right?
forever. Exactly.
What are we
Yes,
looking
I am,
at
because I'm
from
speaking
now to
collectively.
the religion? We're looking at what a few elites wrote down.
but
That's it.
well,
right?
collectively
and
people
what
followed.
What are
You're
they
talking
writing
about
down?
practitioners, not just
Yeah.
those who came up with it. And it's not as if these religions were developed overnight.
Right.
They were developed over thousands of years.
No, most of these religions and all world religions came from two distinct areas and two distinct stories, either multi theology with gods or one, and they all came from the same thing. So if you look at the original text documents that come up from Hinduism, Buddhism, of course, which is a subderivative of Hinduism, the Islamic texts, and the Bible, they all come from the same place.
Well,
What
there's
does it have to
so
do
many
with
more.
I mean-
indigenous religions?
There's also the
I-
Torah, so just saying.
Which
All
is
the
where
Abrahamic,
Christians they came from.
Abrahamic religions,
Right.
like
Okay,
came
we're going
from-
down an
The
alley.
native
I was gonna say we're
religions
heading
that
down.
have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
relationship to them whatsoever.
I love talking about this stuff, but now we're just going down something that we could discuss all night, and I only have like 15 more minutes before Mad takes over and he's talking about menstruations.
We're gonna go back to this when Mad and you leave. Yeah.
I don't mind it, actually. I love the thing about my show that I love is that we will go anywhere the conversation goes. Like, I don't care. I want people to talk about things like this, and I think people will like listening to stuff like this. Am I saying I'm Joe Rogan? No, but I'm close. So Stranger Things star Millie Bobby Brown describes Hollywood's sexualizing of child actors as gross. I mean, it's definitely gross.
Yeah, I mean,
the
that's
one that was
there's
hanging
nothing
out
wrong with
with
that headline.
What's
Yeah,
the
please
place?
say that again. Say that again, Mr. Mead.
Wasn't she hanging out with what's his face for the longest time?
Drake,
Drake, that's it. Yeah.
when she was like 12.
and he was like 27.
Yeah. Yeah, I wondered about that one too. But
Yeah, but he was on Disney. Disney's never done anything to do with children or anything like that. No Disney employees ever had any issues.
no, none of their
Sure.
policies.
Drake was probably one of the few kids from Disney to actually come out of it normal.
Was he in Disney?
Yeah, he was in the wheelchair thingy or that
Yeah,
show.
maybe,
Remember, it
but-
started from the upper middle class. Now he's here. You know.
Geek Club.
Jane, I'm pretty sure
There
Drake
was a
ain't
lot of
normal.
pictures
Glee?
and videos of the two of them, especially when she was
I
younger,
don't-
that didn't make me
I
feel
haven't
You
good.
just
heard
haven't heard anything.
Yeah, which is a far cry from most.
I agree with you
Yeah.
on that one though, Tom. Yeah, he was in, wasn't it something, Next Generation of some high school, Degrassi or something?
Grassy, yeah, probably.
Was that? Yeah, he's
Yeah, it was something like that. All I know is he was in a wheelchair and everyone liked him because of it.
Oh, good. Well, actress Millie Bobby Brown, best known for her roles in Netflix's Stranger Things and Legendary's Godzilla vs. Kong, recently denounced Hollywood's overtly sexualizing of child actors, describing the practice as gross. So speaking... God, I hate my goddamn mouse. Speaking to how she balances her personal life with her professional life during a recent appearance on the Guilty Feminist podcast. Okay. Brown told host Deborah Francis White, I deal with the same things any 18-year-old is dealing with, navigating being an adult and having relationships and friendships, and it's all of those things. Being liked and trying to fit in, it's all a lot, and you're trying to find yourself while doing that, she added. The only difference is obviously I am doing that in the public eye, so it can be really overwhelming. So she explains, I have definitely been dealing with that more within the last couple weeks of turning 18, definitely seeing a difference between the way people act and the way the press and social media have reacted to me becoming of age. Okay, so alluding that she's no longer a minor. In my opinion, I believe that coming of age, I hate you, mouse, shouldn't change anything, but it's gross. It's true. She asserts.
It's true.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
I mean, just because you turned 18 doesn't mean all of a sudden now you're ready. And that's
At
what
least
people treat them like.
I feel like at least it sounds like they're waiting until they turn 18 now.
Yeah.
Because apparently they weren't before.
They weren't.
Yeah,
But
okay. I was looking at her when she was 17. That's a bit perverted, but now she's 18. I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's allowed.
Like
So
they're kids.
They
Even
are-
at 18.
At 26, they're still.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with the Harry Potter kids and everything. When Daniel Radcliffe did something, they're like, isn't it a bit weird that everyone's looking at you now as this sexualized sort of beast? And he turned around and said, he's been doing it to whatever Hermione's name is for years. So why is it weird when it's me? Like, if it's a young girl, it's easy to sexualize her within the Hollywood, and it's almost normalized that if she's dressing in something that's nice or provocative, then if she's 16, then she's quote unquote ready to turn 18.
Well, okay, let me just finish what she said, but I have a point to that too. So since her birthday, so I think it's just a very good representation of what's going on in the world and how, no, it's not, and how young girls are sexualized. I have been dealing with that, but I have also been dealing with that forever. So something I find, I just, as a dad, I've recently noticed, but you have 22-year-old girls playing 16-year-old girls, 15-year-old girls in high school shows. And they are fully developed women. And you see that, like, you're putting the idea, I don't know if this is going to sound right, but you're putting the idea into your consumers that this 15-year-old girl who actually is the body of a 21-year-old girl, that's okay to look at.
And
That's
not only
okay.
that, but they also sexualize them in the shows. And that's something I had a problem with even as a teenager in some of these teenage shows that were hyper sexualized. And it's like, these are kids. Like, this is not supposed to be normal.
Here's the thing. I don't know, anybody here who's been a teenager, that's all you think about from the time you're like 14, 15 and on, right? Like that part is true. As far as the portraying teenagers by adults, I've never had a problem with that. That's been a common thing throughout Hollywood. And that, to me, I think is the better way of doing this, because that way you can deal with more real life events and things of that sort without it being, detrimental to some young person's mind. And the same thing goes with like slasher films and other things. For the years, it's been the norm, to use adults as opposed to kids. And that was one of the reasons why we had such an issue, at least I did, and I know some other people, with a show like Cuties. It'd be like, it's different if you're trying to make this story and tell a specific story about this stuff, but you're using adult girls as opposed to girls who are clearly within, that range of impressionability that it's like, that is insane. And then to find out the stuff we found out about, it's like, yeah, I'll feel much better about some 19 to 20 something year old playing a teenager in a movie or a TV show well before I will somebody who's actually that age doing that on screen, because that is a whole time where these people are developing mentally and stuff.
My point wasn't that they should cast children. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
what I'm saying is they cast adults and then they put them in more adult situations and tell you they're 15. And it's not the case. Yeah, kids may be thinking about sex, but that doesn't mean they're just going around sleeping with each other.
Well, and that was my original point, though, Jane. Have you ever read Fast Times at Ridgemont High? That's my point. Things are going on in the real world that you have no idea, that are crazier than you'd think. Like, that is about kids, written about kids.
Well, I mean, even the movie Kids was relatively accurate to.
It's not about it being normalized at the same time. My difference is, okay, you can tell.
I just thought it was gross. Maybe I feel more like
from.
her. I thought it was gross.
So I got to get going, guys. Of course, I have family in, and Mad will be taking over hosting, but I just wanted to read a members chat and a couple super chats, because I don't think I got to these. Eric K for $2. Amazon is laundering money, much like me and my... What?
$2 here.
Oh, $2 here. Oh, I'll get that back to you and change. Toxic Man, thanks.
That's not how laundering works.
Yeah, you wash it, you bring it back. That's why they call it laundering.
You don't give him $2. You take at least 50 cents of that for yourself.
I said I give him back change. Come on, man.
You said $2 in change.
I didn't say $2 in
Watch
change.
the replay.
Okay. Culture, you're in charge. Toxic Man Flu for $5. I think at Mr. Tickle Trunk should have at Latino Slant's avatar at some point. All hail Latino Slant, who does better. Okay. Before I go, in a members chat, we had a members chat, which does, you got to like search for, because StreamYards does not like giving it to you. The members chat is Lola Meatz. She is a member for 6 months at the member for 12 months, hot pie level. And she just says Sporking with a face with lovely hard eyes. Thank you, Lola. She has a channel. Check her out. She's up late. They're like the overnight crew. Check them out if you like comics and talking about stuff like that too. Thank you very much. But I do have to bounce. I really apologize.
No, this is when the show gets interesting.
It does. It probably will get a lot more likes. I might just become a producer of my own show. I want to thank you, the panel. I love you. You guys are the best. I love that we could have crazy conversations and get a little heated here and there, and everything works out because we're actually adults, most of us. And I love the chat. So I hope you guys have a good night with the rest of the stuff you're going to be talking about. Don't sexualize children. Later, everybody.
Later, Scott.
Yep.
Bye.
So let's just don't forget that kids,
paying
man,
attention for a
they
second.
can only work so many hours a day anyway. So you know what I mean? Like if you have adults in those roles, you can actually get some things done instead of like, oh, they got to
But
study. Ooh, they got
they
school.
shouldn't use it as an opportunity to basically exercise their or play out their fantasies with teenagers, with adults who look like teenagers and teenage stories. That's the problem that I have with it,
Welcome to the porn industry.
basically.
Yeah.
what do we got up next? We can get off of that one. That was icky. Next article. I don't know. I can't do anything with them. So
I have no idea what's going on.
We have a producer. He's Grant.
yeah. Culture. Can't you bring up articles
Matt,
as well?
aren't you the co-host?
I'm looking
But I
to
don't
see
have
which
any
one's
charge.
the which. So yeah, give me a second, guys.
Oh boy.
Yeah. All right.
This is great YouTube.
Culture. Can you not bring
What?
up articles yourself?
I can. I didn't log in as a producer. I will.
This episode of The
Alright.
Dump is brought to you by Netflix.
Oh,
That's
there
right.
you
Sign up for Netflix today, and I will bring one of my 3 videotapes to your house, and we will watch it together.
Speaking of
Netflix.
which, speaking
I can't share articles. Every time I'm trying to share it says I'm unable to share it this time. So they're in the private chat here. I'll just post it again. Someone's gonna have to put it on their screen, and then I can do it
Yeah.
that way.
I'll take care of it. So.
The organization here is just amazing.
Hey, we have the best production quality on this period of time
On
at
the
this
inner
moment.
tubes, yes. YouTube, I don't know.
Yet.
Inner tubes.
What's the difference between the inner tubes and the YouTubes?
An inner tube is what goes inside of a wheel.
Oh, this is
Not
Pronouns.
necessarily. You could
Didn't y'all
float
debate
a
that
river.
before?
this article is bananas. Thank you, Grant. Yeah,
YouTube
man, this is going to be your favorite thing to talk about. This is your, what do you call it? This is your
Opus.
magnum opus. This is your magnum opus.
We're talking
wow.
about Magnum. Cool.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like that
kind
show.
of. Here we go. Enjoy.
As long as it's not the PI. Can you zoom in?
PC Gamer. What the fuck? Do I really have to talk about this?
Oh, you're reading it.
Says who?
Could we get your Russian friend to do it?
Well,
I'm
it's written in
surprised-
Cyrillic, right?
I have to say, I'm surprised that we haven't had a commercial from Netflix on this show yet. But,
It's not my fault. I did not do anything to do with that.
okay.
I am not the producer of this show.
Okay. Can you do something about this? Whoa, shoot. Can you do something about reading this, though?
ZD Project looking into menstrual leave after GOG announcement.
It's a big step for big companies.
What was the announcement?
We can listen to this article.
Nah, I like this better.
In a huge step for equality in the workplace, both within the games industry and beyond, GOG recently announced that it's starting to offering menstrual leave to its employees. This means that whenever period pains occur, that you cut it off.
You cut it off.
You cut it off.
I can't read it.
There
Affected
we go.
employees can take as much time as needed off work to recover.
Real quick,
And this is bullshit. Women in Russia are so much stronger. My mom had me 1 minute, next minute she go right back to work.
Yeah.
Then
How's
she
this
put me to work.
equality? How's this equality if you're giving one half special like days off, like that the other one cannot?
Men can have
utilize?
periods too, Matt. Don't be misogynist.
Oh,
The menstrual leave days will fully be paid, with GOG estimating that it will. Who is GOG?
I don't know
Result in
who GOG
affected
is.
employees taking an additional day off per quarter. GOG
How is this different from sick days? How is this just not sick leave?
It's a different categorization under
It's
the
really
HR.
I'm no
Yeah, they
longer
file these.
people-
They file this under icky. I
This
think.
is making so much sense now. See, look here. GOG is a subsidiary of a stupid Polish game developer. See, that's the problem right there. That's it. Figured it out. Case closed. End of discussion.
Okay.
Only that somebody that stupid would think everybody have menstrual cramps. I have menstrual cramps right now thinking about this in my brain.
It does sound like Guru.
And anyone who does is already just taking sick leave. This is not a problem to be solved.
Yeah, this is very strange.
It just like, if we didn't have to like, just think if we had to pay women the same amount as men, this would be like, no, this, you know what I mean? Like that's the only reason you're hiring women. It's because, you save money.
Mm-hmm.
That
Now
may
you
be the
gotta
only
give them these free
reason.
days.
Who knows?
And then they have babies, and you got to let them have legal.
Ugh.
Legal.
This
Right?
is
They get
really
like
gross.
a year.
Oh, so in the state
They
that I
should
live
get
in,
a year.
they recently passed a law that allowed for an extra week of maternity leave, and the women that I had on the team didn't get this, but the first one to get it was a man
Nice.
and got like 2 extra weeks, and then they still haven't forgiven him. And I'm like, it's not his
Why?
fault.
Wait, it's not his fault.
What are they
That's
mad
the
about?
law. Exactly. It's because
I
people
mean,
are petty.
I will say though, with respect to that, we really need to get our priorities in order. Like, how is raising children like looked down upon?
Well, that's true.
It shouldn't
I'm
be.
only having one question. How are they proving this?
That's also true.
Oh, I'm sure they keep like a calendar with everyone's. And plus, what about like Jane? You
on
can
a
back me up
stick.
on this.
What
When
about thinking?
Yeah, I was about to. Yeah, like when women hang out together, it syncs. So like, is like every woman in the office going to take the same day off, or?
Everybody's symptoms would be different. So
I mean, yeah. How do they test it? Do they like bring in bloodhounds or something?
I would
Like-
imagine that they're, like I said before, if they feel sick or have cramps or migraines or whatever, they're going to take leave anyway already. Like, this is a non-issue.
I can see this becoming problem.
agree.
Janet, you already had your leave last week. How many times
They
can you
sure
have?
do
Period.
sync.
Yeah, she might be having an irregular month. What
Yeah.
happens with that then?
You have had your period for the last year.
Oh man.
Now
Or
the
they could
question
just let
comes up:
people work from home and be done with it.
if she gets pregnant, or he, because apparently men can have babies.
Yeah.
Oh, careful.
And then
Don't
does
be
she
making
still
up
get
stories.
the day through the pregnancy? That's the question. Because if you take away that benefit, you have to pay somebody if you have a benefit, right?
It's a leave day, so you have to request it when you need it.
Well, speaking of
Right.
menstruating, Mexican Iron Man for $10.
Oh, rough.
Here we
Please
go.
accept this contribution towards the Mads Internship Overseas Leadership Development Fund. I would like to send Mads overseas to study with Ivan the Russian.
It's a good idea.
Russia.
Had been overseas and it didn't exactly work out for him.
That's true. He blew himself up.
It's true. Last time I was overseas. Last time I was overseas, it didn't end
They were
well.
shooting real bullets at you.
He's like, no, well, yeah.
Cool. Because I was like, no, I went on a cruise. I was like, wait, but that was like to Jamaica. That wasn't overseas.
That's not really overseas.
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, actually, no. Trying to think. Yeah, no.
That's very bad luck for Mad. Anyway, GOG's announcement. I reached out to CD Projekt director Radek Grabowski to ask whether the menstrual leave initiative might also extend to the parent company, which totals around 11,000 employees or 1,100 employees. Sorry. He replied, GOG is spearheading this initiative, and we're looking into it further for the whole CD project.
Why? Is there not things that the employees would rather have than this crap? You know what I mean?
It's called sick leave, like Jane's
Like-
been saying. This makes no fucking sense at all.
How about we not have the crunch time at the end of every game where you have us working 7 days a week for
Well, they
18
said-
hours?
They did say they were going to get rid of that, but I don't know.
Well, here's the other thing. Like, let's be real. Like, I'm obviously not a woman, but if I was, the last thing I'd want to do is call my boss and say, "Yeah, I'm calling in because I'm having menstrual cramps." You just say, "I'm not feeling well." It's not their fucking business.
Well, they need to
That's the
code it in the
key.
system.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's like,
key, so-
what do? You
code
ring up. You're saying, yeah, I've got my cramps are a bit much, and I'm having a heavy flow. Like,
Okay, so-
how are you supposed to say that in a nice way? Like,
Grant, I could hear you saying that. But
Well, that's a TR-37.
well, I mean, I have used that before because they took away paternity leave, so I just told them I had my period.
It
So
could
I
also
got
be
8 months
used-
off.
It can also be used to uncover who is truly their apparent gender in a discriminatory fashion.
Yeah.
So there could be
Yeah.
legal consequences to this.
this
too.
is rife with HR legalities through it, and somebody were to come and say, "Hey, I want to take some time off." Fine, you've got to give it to them, and it's all about performance. So that's why it's you have to have set goals, what the performance is, and then if somebody doesn't meet that performance, then you can do something about it.
Well, if there's anything we've learned ever since this whole Twitter business is there's a lot of kids who aren't doing jack shit for work. They think they are, but they're not. And they act like it's the end of the world if they actually have to do something.
Their emotional struggle is their work.
Yeah, I would love to have taken an emotional day as a kid. It'd have been so amazing because, like, yeah, there's tons of times I could have thought that'd have been great for my mental health.
Yeah,
but,
that was
you
a
know,
couple of days.
You
in
don't know how
Baghdad.
hard it is for them, Tom, though. I mean, they have to work nearly 2 hours a week, and then plus they've got to catch up. But, like, it's just too much for them. They need extra time.
Considering the mental health issues in this country, we do need mental health days.
There is mental health issues, but also at the same time, I've seen it through kids my kids' age. They're just fucking lazy. They just don't want to do anything, and they'll use every single fucking excuse in the book they can, to the point where it's detrimental to their lives. Like, I mean, I've been jumping my kids' case about some of this shit too. It's like you're falling right into this trap of thinking everything should be handed to you, just like all these other kids out there, and it's getting redonkulous. Right? It's like, get off your ass, get something done, work for a living. It's just, I just
Do
don't
you see
understand.
parents trying to inspire their kids though and encourage them to actually do something?
No, because parents are afraid to fucking say anything. Well, I'm not, but I mean,
Yeah.
I'll tell my kid to get off his fat ass and do something. But like, no, that's the other problem is a lot of parents are afraid to be seen as, not encouraging. It's like, it's okay to encourage like creativity and things of that sort, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with telling your kid that, you got to pay the fucking bills somehow, right? It's great that you want to be a musician, you want to be an artist, what have you, but you have to be able to have something to fall back on. Like, I think that mentality has gone out the window.
And then also teaching them something too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like actual skills that they can use, that they can have to fall back on.
Well, and that's a lot of the school's faults too, because they don't have those first level classes to get people interested in those things, right? They've taken out home economics, they've taken out shop, they've taken out all these classes that do, bring creativity out of people in ways that be like, yeah, that's a trade you can have. That's something you can make a career out of. That you're doing the other stuff on the side until that necessarily may or may not take off. But like, that's the problem is a lot of these parents feel like, oh, if I don't encourage my kid, then I'm going to be seen as, the bad parent. It's like, no, you got to be realistic as a parent. Right.
But that's what they will consider. That would be what people would consider child abuse now, Tom. That's the problem that you fall into, being harsh.
And that's exactly what I'm getting at. Yeah.
No, sometimes parents just be like, hey, dum-dum, you're not going to be an astronaut. Like, my God.
The reason why I say the sky's the limit is because you're never going to be an astronaut. But you can be everything underneath the sky.
Grant.
No, but if they want to be an astronaut, I mean, to me, that would actually be a decent goal.
That's actually not as bad of a goal.
Send them to
like
the
a better
NASA
thing to
training
say,
program.
it's like, look, kid, in your lifetime, you're going to be lucky if you see 5 presidents. One of them's probably not going to be you. So chances are you might want to figure something else out, right?
Like the NBA star,
a lawyer,
right? NBA, baseball, the whole sports star thing that we put them up on a pedestal with that. What teeny tiny percentage do those people become that?
Exactly.
They spend their whole life at it, and then they don't get an education or some kind of trade. One of the proudest moments in our life has been that one of our kids has decided that I'm not going to pay all this money for college, and I'm going to go learn how to fix Teslas and some other stuff like that. So
no, that's a good.
That's why I like the STEM push that we've been seeing the last few years. That's been great.
No, I feel like they should push that more back to the way it used to be. Like if you were, involved in sports in college and maybe you even had a career in sports, possibly, they still made sure you got an education. Because look at all these athletes now, where it's like, yeah, the chances of you getting like some kind of deal to where you're going to get something after your career's over is slim to none. So most of them are broke by the time they're in their 40s or 50s.
Well, a lot of these schools too have been pushing these kids, like socially promoting them and not giving them an education. Their parents look the other way because they were just as delusional as the kids.
Mhm.
This is the result of the participation prize generation.
Yep.
You know, just the mere fact that you show up means that you're entitled to the rewards. You know, these kids have to realize you have got to bust your ass if you want to have an edge in this world. If you want to get something, you're going to have to compete. You know, sometimes you might have to do some dirty dealing. You might have to cheat. You might have to go in when you're bleeding. You might have to go in when you have a headache, when your feet are hurting.
Mhm.
You know, life does not bend to you.
When
It's
you're
like you have
menstruating.
to rise up to meet life. And I think that's something that this generation here is sorely missing.
Absolutely.
You know,
Mark.
and
You're
it's like
not
the
wrong
more that
about that.
Yeah, the more
Life
that we
is not
enable these-
fair.
yeah,
Life is not
know,
fair.
and the best thing you can do for your kids, if you love them, is tell them, like what you were saying, get off your ass, get out there. I don't care how you're feeling. This is not a sick day. You know what I mean? It's like, unless you actually are sick. If you are sick, then you have to go get yourself taken care of as someone who's sick. You don't just get to say,
Right.
I'm going to stay in bed. I want to put on the fuzzy little slippers. I'm going to sip some tea and go back in when I'm feeling 100%.
My emotional
Newsflash.
health is just not with it today. And no, you're
Yeah.
right, Mark. Like, that's the thing is I want my kid, and I'm sure you raise your kids the same way, and as a lot of people here do, is in a sense that you want to be that guy that even if so what if you have a stomach ache or a headache? You want to be the person who's there when they need somebody at work, when they're saying, oh, so-and-so called in because they're menstruating. Well, I'm here, God damn it. And that shows to an employer, right? Those other people that are lazy, they're not going to have jobs for very fucking long. Like, that's the other problem I've seen with all this shit. I admire, as much as I hate the corporate world, I admire the go-get attitude of a lot of those people in that arena, because like you just said, they realize that nobody's going to do it but themselves. And same thing goes for anybody who works very hard at a factory or anything like that. I admire that in anybody who has that wherewithal.
Right.
Get up every day, work 40 plus hours a week, bust an ass, doing things that are important to the world, as opposed to sitting there on Twitter all day going, oh, I got fucking cramps.
Yeah.
Or mean tweets. So here's something that I'd like the panel's thoughts on. The difference between the meaning of equality, equity, and opportunity, right? So having the opportunity is it's there for me to go get. Equity is everybody gets the same thing, right? Which one is going to produce the best society, is going to keep the society moving forward? It's the opportunity society. And in this country, we have so much opportunity that others do not.
True.
And I think by using the equity word, we're really removing the opportunity, right? So somebody, it doesn't matter what the color of their skin is or where they came from or any of that kind of stuff, right? I'm very white on my skin, but I'm mostly American Indian, right? So it race, skin color, all that stuff, it doesn't matter, right? Mark has as much opportunity as I do, right? Now, there might be some differences and things and stuff in there, but he's still in America. He's still able to get up. He's still able to go out and work and bust his ass and do everything he possibly can to be successful. Does that mean he's going to be successful? No, but he has the opportunity to do it, as opposed to some countries where, no, you're going to get concreted up in your apartment because the proletariat says you're going to be, right? So that's the difference between those two words and the meaning of them and what it's doing to our society today. Is that part of what this is? So that's my question.
Don't necessarily think so, but then my background and how I was raised is somewhat different, because we never really looked at it from the perspective, I say we, I'm talking collectively over several generations, never really looked at it in terms of equality or equity or opportunity. It was more from the perspective of independence, wanting to be independent from other people's control, be it other Americans, be it the government, be it an employer. So entrepreneurship has been pushed from when we had farms to the present day when we own our own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always been about getting your education, obviously, but the end goal is to own your own business and to be your own boss. And that way, if you get sick one day and you don't want to come to work, or you're just tired of people, you can just leave and it's up to you. And there are no, you decide what the extent of consequences you're willing to accept to your business.
So I see that. That's the Rich Dad Poor Dad book by Robert Kiyosaki, where his rich dad was the one that owned all the businesses but didn't finish high school, and he ended up selling a couple of properties on Waikiki for almost $1 billion here the last 10 years. And his poor dad was the one that had all the education and taught at the university, but never really had anything right from there. So it's kind of like you're trying to, and I think where Jane's coming from with that, and stop me if I'm wrong, the independence to do what I want to do, to go take it as far as I want to take it. So I think independence and opportunity go hand in hand with that. And I think that we need to be on an equal playing field, not equity, but an equal playing field to do that. And
I don't think
that's
it's
why
ever
we
going to
have to
necessarily be equal. That we don't live in like
No,
you said
that's
before,
true.
society isn't fair.
Mhm.
Equality isn't a thing. It is
Right.
competition, though, that I think is what pushes us forward. And I think that on an individual level, on a family level, you have to be thinking about your legacy. You have to be thinking about future generations. You have to be thinking about building wealth and building independence as much as possible so that you have options,
Yep.
regardless of what is happening in the
that's-
world around you.
And that's why the
That's a
destruction
good point.
of the family unit is a real problem,
Mhm.
because generational wealth is key. I know that that's a hard concept for people to grasp onto, and I know that's where Jane was going. The idea that my grandfathers were building something up so that my parents could build something up so that I could build something up, generationally changing the financial future of the familial entity going forward. That is the biggest opportunity in the United States, is the accumulation of generational wealth, which is why a lot of people try to get rid of the death tax, because you've already been taxed on all of this money as you've made it throughout the course of your life, and as the previous generation did, and so on and so forth. You should not have to surrender money because you passed away. That money should be passed completely to the next generation, because that's how you build it. And right now you have the largest, or I should say, this is actually 25 years old now, the greatest transition in, and I'm going to say this, in the Black family has been the accumulation of generational wealth. It has changed the equation for many families who have that particular ethnic makeup, and it's been an incredible thing, and I don't think anybody acknowledges it for what it's been. But the opportunity shouldn't be stripped away from anybody. The opportunity to move things forward generationally, it's incredibly important. I want Jane's family, when Jane has a huge family, 27 children, whatever. But when Jane, I don't know, maybe Jane already has.
Don't sell Jane short.
I'm just saying, maybe she already has 27 kids. I don't know. But all I know is that she is incredibly successful, and she is constantly working to be even more so. And I think I can say that about almost everybody I get to hang with here on YouTube. And I think that generationally, it's very important. And you have to treat your kids as individuals. Believe me, I know. There was no way I was going to go to college the way that everybody wanted me to go to college. I went to school my own way. I paid the bill the entire way. I took very limited number of loans. It was all cash for me, because I didn't want to put myself in a debt position, and I didn't mind working and not sleeping. I started and operated my own business. My very first business, in high school, incorporated a business in high school. Then I took that business, to college with me. You are as successful as you want to be in this country. That's the opportunity that Tox was talking about. But anyway, I'm sorry. I probably stepped on everybody's toes.
No,
No, that's
and
pretty
also
much
don't
exactly
forget,
what I
like,
was gonna say.
I'm sure you had a great relationship with LL Cool J, your roommate at the time. When
That's true. Yeah.
You keep trying to guess who my roommate was. See, I gave Matt a piece of information about college and who my first roommate was, and now he keeps trying to guess who
DJ
it was.
Jazzy Jeff.
It was Cool
No, it wasn't
Mo
Jazzy
D.
Jeff.
Get it
He
right, guys.
slapped him.
I'm not saying it.
Well, I initially thought it was Flavor Flav because of his love for clocks. but I'm
Flavor
not too
Flav.
I bet you it was
I
Snow.
always want to know what time it is. That's true. That's true.
It's heavy.
one
D,
day he's
guys.
going to tell me, and I'm going to tell all of you.
It was heavy D. and one of his boys.
I don't think it's Heavy D. It's somebody that no longer is in the biz.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
Well,
I got
He's
notes,
dead.
brother. All right. Well, do we have another article?
Yeah, I don't
Was
know.
it
what it is.
Houdini?
What was it? The
Yeah, there's another article in the private chat if someone could
Do I feel
put it
like
on their screen.
I felt like I just killed the conversation. Was I wrong? Was I over?
No, you said basically what I was going to say, and that is I just don't agree with this whole, like, there hasn't been equality for a long time in the U.S. Granted, yeah, there's been areas of the U.S. that are more racist than others. There's people that are more racist than others, but we live in a country where it's set up to where it doesn't matter the color of your skin, doesn't matter where you're fucking from. If you have talent, if you're knowledgeable, if you're smart, you can go places, you can own your own business, just like Jane was saying, or you can be a musician, or you can be just about anything you want to be in this country. And the only person who really stops you is yourself. Granted, people get fucked over every day, and it doesn't matter what sex they are or the color of their skin.
But I think you have to have. I disagree with some of what you just said, but I think that
Me or
ultimately, Tom.
Okay.
But I think that ultimately the goal has been for generations. Again, going back to my model, has been to shield yourself as much as possible from the possibility of that.
Yeah.
So we
Mhm.
tried as much as possible to not put ourselves in a position to be we were raised sort of like immigrants, like in my family. Like my mom was a Tiger mom, her mother was the same way. And it was, you're gonna go to school, you're gonna get your degree and whatever, you're gonna do your internship, work for some other people for a little while. But then you're going to own your own business in whatever your field happens to be.
Yep.
Because you're not going to be discriminated against.
You know,
That was the whole point.
No, I'm
So
just kind of curious there. This is legitimate curiosity because you said your mom and her mom.
Mhm.
The dads also, or
they're all military.
okay.
So my dad, my grandfathers, my great grandfathers, all military. And my dad's family also had been landowners for generations. So he inherited a lot of real estate that supplemented his income.
Real estate's the way to go. So, Jane, how many of your boyfriends did disappear because your parents were in the military?
Actually, I think the more important
Mark,
question
go
is how
ahead.
many are still around?
Funny. Yeah, how many of them are still around?
Yeah,
But Mark,
and
you were going to say something.
I actually have one last
I was
question.
just going to point out
Go ahead,
that
Mark,
the tendency of people to keep running to divorce court also, in this society the way it is, it seriously sabotages. That's why I asked about the men, because there has to be like a working together that's happening, with families, and they have to have a sense of purpose. And this is something I think they had more of in previous generations, where they actually, it wasn't taboo to say a woman's place or a man's place. It didn't mean those stereotypical roles. It just meant that there was a role that they played together, in the raising of the family and working towards a common goal, for success, with the objective of passing along generational wealth. You don't see that now. If he's not, if they're not, like exciting enough, then you feel justified in just throwing away the whole relationship.
Because I think people don't see it as a commitment anymore. Like they see it as just something to do or something. If they're not happy, then they just sort of leave.
Yeah,
as opposed to saying, "Look,
it's a commitment with a safety blanket." That's the
exactly,
problem.
exactly.
Divorce it can be a really, really healthy and good thing to do because it can cause far more damage.
Probably the healthiest bloke here.
It can cause far more damage staying in a relationship that is toxic for both you and if you have children, especially, like that can be really fundamentally damaging to their well-being, both mentally and possibly even physically. So, but the problem I don't think is with divorce. I think it's with how quickly people are getting married or what they're looking for in someone to date or someone to be involved with.
It's all pretty much the same in that way.
And flexibility too. Like I look at my paternal grandparents as probably an interesting model of an old-fashioned couple where the wife was a stay-at-home mom, took care of and she literally had like 20 kids, took care of the kids. That was her primary role. Her husband, he had besides being in the military, when he retired, he opened his own record store. So that's what he did. And what was funny was that when she was older, she actually got a contract and became a gospel singer, professional gospel singer.
Wow.
And he became her manager. So they were able to comfortably and with respect sort of flip the roles a little bit, where he became the one sort of supporting her in her career. But it's mutual respect seems to be gone these days. It's all about who
Well, it's
can be the
because a lot of these
forefront.
couples want to win. They don't want to have a partnership. They want to be the person who's, well, I'm the one who's earning more money. I'm the one who has XYZ. And the problem is they go into this mentality based purely and simply around like social media likes and clicks and everything. That's how they live their life. You've got to be on top, even if you're better than just one person, whether that's your wife or your next door neighbor. They don't care, and that's the problem with. It's so easy to get divorced and separated today that people are using that like, well, yeah, might as well get married. Why not? Let's just see what happens, sort of thing, without actually going through the pain and the commitment of doing it properly.
There was a old New Edition song. I mean, if anyone hopefully is familiar with New Edition.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which New Edition?
Oh, Bob
sorry?
Brown.
The new
Bob
edition
Brown
or the
did-
new
no.
edition before they were New Edition?
I only know one New
With
Edition.
the subtraction.
Oh God.
Oh my God. Okay.
Then they were Belle Biv DeVoe.
Yeah, but anyway, the
No,
song
I'm
was
picking on you,
called-
man. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I get it. Can you stand the rain was the question,
Yeah.
Can you stand? They would say sunny days. Everyone loves the sunny days, but can you stand the rain? Can you stand the sacrifice that you have to go through, the fire that you have to go through to get to that station in life where you can actually build something and pass something on? A lot of these new relationships these days, everyone wants the sunshine, everybody wants to walk down the block and say, don't we look good? Look at us.
Yeah.
But the struggle, they don't want that struggle time. They don't want that sacrifice, those hard times, those times when you might be broke, those times when you might be struggling to make ends meet, but you have to go through those things to get to where you want to be. You just don't start at the top. You got to sacrifice. And I think a lot of people are missing that. And I think a lot of people fall out, they get divorced fighting over money and all of this stuff. And, they don't want to do the work, man.
New Edition also
My
said
dad
cool
told
it now.
me.
They also said
he's
cool
dad-
it now.
Oh, cool it now. They did.
Never trust a big butt and a smile. I mean, they were good for a lot of wisdom, man.
That girl is poised.
They had a crystal ball.
Yes.
My dad told me that after the wedding, the marriage begins.
That's right.
Right. And a marriage is a partnership. It's work. It's a living thing. And you've got to deal with that. And you've got to be able to communicate, right? Truly communicate with somebody and learn them. And what is the communication style that they have? What you have to have a humbleness to yourself, to sacrifice of yourself. So if we go back to the religion argument, what I took out of all the years of religion and things that I had and studied, and it was the red letter editions of words of Christ in the Bible. He sacrificed of himself, right? And I think if you're going to be married and you're going to have kids, that's a sacrifice of yourself.
It's true.
And
I mean, even
that's not
speaking of
anything you can
sacrifices-
take back, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
even Jesus didn't trust a big butt and a smile.
But here's the thing too, and Tina
That's because
brought
they were
this
poisoned.
up. Tina brought this up. According to a study
was
she read
trying to
recently, only
segue it.
10% of men in their 20s are in committed relationships, and less than 25% are actively engaging
I'm surprised it's
in
not
a sexual
higher.
relationship due to the fear of being accused of sexual assault or pregnancy and witnessing bad relationships and divorce as a child. And that is something we're seeing too. And this is one of the reasons why I take issue with how gender is sort of being defined and redefined these days. It seems like you have an erosion of even relationships, let alone marriages in culture today. And it's almost like society is promoting that to keep people apart.
well, it's not
Actually-
society.
more.
But it's very specific elements or
Because
or
poison
pillars
is
of
glam rock.
society,
No,
right?
no, they're not. They're
Yeah,
a
they
hair
are.
band.
Poison.
Poison. Yeah, that's
Boy.
Belle Biv DeVoe. Now you know. So Rick Blow.
Even in the fucking
She's
song,
driving me out of my mind. That's why this got so hard to find. She out of my head. Kiss her, miss her, love her. That girl is poison. Poison.
But you're muted there, buddy.
In January.
Damn it.
Never trust the big
Lord.
button. Smile.
You know, New Edition also said Candy Girl. You are my world.
Candy girl. You're my
They also
world.
said Mr. Telephone Man.
That's
There's something
right.
wrong with my line. Yeah. Down my
And then
big
Bobby
button.
went and said, "Don't be cruel."
Don't be cruel. Oh wait, no, wrong one.
No, that was the other black guy, Elvis.
Every little step I take,
Oh,
you
Lord.
will be there.
every little-
Okay.
But yeah.
All
My
right.
heart
How many of us on those
belongs
panels?
to Jane Theory.
Yeah.
He's my only love.
Smooth.
Lord.
Who had the hammer pants?
No one.
Jane has the best voice.
I
in the
definitely don't
world.
have a picture of me when I was 5
I
wearing
would
hammer pants. That's
pay-
for sure.
I would
Can't
pay
touch
to
it.
hear Jane do karaoke. I would pay.
No.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
Yes.
You got to get me very drunk first. Culture is that's what that no said.
Oh, okay.
A
Well, that's
lot of alcohol.
Whole lot of alcohol. See,
hold on.
We got that.
blame it on the alcohol.
Wow.
Jamie Foxx, 1-0.
There you go.
What's the next article?
The
Dad?
message is you got to go to work.
I can't
don't
bring it
care.
up.
I don't care
Absolutely.
who's.
Oh,
who's
could I get someone
I'll get it.
to share the next article so we can bring it up?
There was
All
another
right, we
song that
gotta
said,
go.
"Ain't nothing going on but the rent, motherfucker."
Ooh, let me tell you.
That's taking
How
it
come
back.
we didn't finish up
Nice.
the GOG thing? But that was a great
GOG.
discussion. we
They're
had.
fucking. It's ridiculous. It's just
Go to work.
It's just a sick day. Come on. We
It'd
all
be
know.
better if their initials were
Get your
GAG.
money and get you a relationship.
There we go. What is
Okay, what's
all of
this?
this pop-up stuff? This is
It's
redonkulous.
the New York Post. That's why.
Yeah, it's the New York Post.
The New York pop-up post.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Lee, get this.
I
got
know it's
thoughts
so
everywhere.
annoying.
Good Lord. All right. House GOP's GOP's? That didn't sound good. GOP readies probe of Twitter over Elon Musk
Get out
takeover.
with
bid.
GOP.
Yeah, you know me.
We're down with GOP. Everybody. Well,
Another
that's-
pop up.
all right.
Have another one.
Congressional Republicans are
Pop
laying,
hooray. Ho. Sorry. I
Congressional
thought we were all
Republicans.
just doing it.
Jump
Liking
around.
this.
Why would you call me a
Congressional-
garden
Jump up
tool,
and get
motherfucker?
down.
So no, my pronouns are. So thank you.
Where did he get that?
Congressional Republicans are laying the groundwork for an investigation of Twitter should they retake the majority this fall as the company's board works to prevent a hostile takeover bid by Elon Musk. One sentence paragraph. 18 members
Oh my God.
of the House GOP conference fired off a letter to
You
Twitter's
drew a
board.
picture of my morning, but you couldn't make my day. Hey.
Hey, fucking, you're yawning. Looking down your darling in every single way.
Your funny flow's foreign and the green card's in the war.
See, I'm quick
It's
to do a
tricky to
shampoo, but
rock a
watch your head
rhyme.
and shoulders.
To rock a rhyme to rock a rhyme. It's tricky.
It's
Wrong way.
tricky.
Tricky.
It's unbelievable, inconceivable.
Funky Cold Medina
Is that a
actually does
lyric?
work.
Yes.
When I
Oh,
wake up,
Unbelievable.
take up mostly all of my
inconceivable.
time. I'm not singing funky, bring it when I make up a rhyme.
It's
Not buying
tricky.
girls to cry. Okay, go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
Culture, you gonna read this thing?
Quick, at about noon, just thought that I had to be in Compton soon. I gotta get drunk before the day begins, before my mother starts bitching about my friends. Down to go, and damn near went blind young. Can't say that.
Can't say what? What can you
Easy.
say?
Can't say anything.
DJ and the Bear.
Sorry.
So, just in case anyone wants to know, I am definitely now not the whitest person on the screen.
Is it me?
Straight out of Compton, a crazy motherfucker named Ice Cube.
Dude, I'm telling
Can't
you,
call
Easy E was-
with attitude. When I'm
Easy
called
was
off, I
so
get a sawed
amazing.
off, screen the trigger, and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you up with me, the police are gonna have to come and get me off your ass. That's how I'm going out to the pump, mother. They're showing out. Want to rumble, they want to mumble, mix them in, cook them in a pot like gumbo, going off on everybody like that. With a cat that's pointed at your. So give it up smooth. Ain't no telling when I'm down for a jack. Oh, y'all got me on blow it up. I'm sorry.
You're rolling, man.
Yeah, you were killing
That was
it,
the
man.
best part of the show.
Yeah,
right there.
thank you.
I doubt that.
All right, well, we'll
no.
dive into this. 18 members of the House GOP conference fired off a letter to Twitter's board of directors asking it to preserve all records linked to Elon Musk's offer to buy the social media platform, according to PMSNBC DBDBDs. The letter, which was signed by GOP representatives on the House Judiciary Committee led by Jim Jordan of Ohio, was addressed to Twitter board chairman Brett Taylor and other directors. As Congress continues to examine big tech and how to best protect America's free speech right, this letter serves as a formal request for you to preserve all records and materials relating to Musk's offer to purchase Twitter, including Twitter's consideration in response to this offer and Twitter's evaluation of its shareholder interests with respect to Musk's offer, the letter read.
He's straight up trolling.
Oh, the letter read, not the letter read. Got it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lady in red, she's dancing with me.
He banged Amber Heard.
He's got a Texas belt buckle there.
Oh, look, he's showing us his hernia scar.
There you go. You should construe this preservation notice as an instruction to take all reasonable steps to prevent the destruction or alteration of gosh dang pop-ups. Oh my gosh.
I bought one of those today.
Wait, it doesn't say that in the article. Stop
Whether
ad-libbing.
intentionally or negligently, of all documents, communications, and other information, including electronic information and metadata. This is or may be potentially responsive to the congressional inquiry.
Really?
Well, maybe.
This is just grandstanding.
Yeah, well, so is this ad. The post has
Big
reached
ad.
out to Twitter seeking comment. Twitter has drawn the ire of Republicans and their supporters over a perceived effort to censor right-leaning views and banish voices who don't adhere to liberal politics. Musk told Twitter's board that the
Have
social
they?
network...
Have they? Because I remember President Trump trying to do something about it, and they did not allow him to.
This is true.
Yeah.
Yes,
Musk
that is
told
true.
Twitter... Musk told Twitter's board that the social network has potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe, an approach that has unleashed speculation, which would reinstate Donald Trump's Twitter account, which was shut down following the day that they're trying to make something in the Capitol, invitees to walk around the building. Twitter was also angered Republicans when it blocked access to the New York Post story about Hunter Biden's laptop computer just weeks before the 2020 presidential election. This is true.
Now think, if he buys Twitter
Yes.
and reinstates Trump's account,
Yes.
he immediately tanks Truth Social,
Yes.
and
Yeah, I agree.
Rumble
Yeah,
takes a
that's-
hit.
I don't think he will. I don't think that's what he will do because of that specific
And I
reason.
don't think Trump will come back.
Well, it should be Trump's
I think-
choice, though.
Right.
Right.
He
It's
Well,
his
didn't say
choice.
it and let him decide what he wants to do.
He won't tank his own thing, Jane.
Well, I don't know about that. I think he's petty enough to come back and want to push people and to show them that he was done pretty bad. And I think he wants to come back and punish people that did that to him. Because I think I've said it before on this show, the only reason he ran is because Obama dissed him at the correspondence dinner, making fun of his presidential run a couple of years before.
Well,
And
keep in
I-
mind, Bill Clinton also allegedly told him he should run, so I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Yeah. That's
He's a New York Democrat.
that's scary.
This is why we're so broken in this country. Trump is a New York Democrat and had been forever until he ran on the Republican ticket. And you know what? He just did the same thing for the most part that the Democrats had been saying that they were wanting to do, and the Democrats went farther left. I'm confused. I'm outside of like proposing a border wall, which is honestly a reasonable proposition.
Which
What-
we already were working on.
Right.
Well, I mean, Obama said that in his 2008 election thing. That's what he wanted. That's what was one of his main goals was to protect the border by using "quote unquote" a wall.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show what happens when these people actually get in office.
Yeah.
Congress decides to do what they want to do or push their own agenda. And whatever the president wanted to do, so conveniently flips a lot of the time. Not all the time, but
It's bananas. But
Well, and we saw flip right in this last week with the
Billionaires.
Democrats going out there and trying to plea for Disney.
oh
It's like
god,
you were
yeah.
the fucking same fuckers who tried to
They
do
were
the
the ones
same
that
thing
would
a few years ago.
almost 4 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it was
Y'all
right
should be
about
working together on this
Yeah.
shit.
They
4 years.
can't. They
Right.
can't agree on anything, even the thing that they support. It's so stupid. This is why people are so over politics.
Yeah, but if they're seen working together on even one part of a bill, it's basically them saying, "I agree with 100% of your policies," and that's the
Yes.
problem.
And this
Ooh.
is
The
why
tribalism
weed's
of
not
it all.
legal yet either.
It's so
goddammit.
insane.
I do believe weed should be legal. Like it should be treated the same as alcohol.
Well, and I don't want to sit here and
Hear,
sound
hear.
like I'm bitching
Yes,
about
sir.
one side or the other, because yeah, Republicans have just as many problems too. Don't get me wrong. I am sick of politics. Period. Like I've been just so done with politics for the last like 10 years.
They're all liars, man.
Oh yeah, there are a handful of people that probably are, somewhat forthright. But the problem is that on the salaries that they earn, they're getting so much information they take advantage of. They have, situations where the speaking fees that they can collect,
Mhm.
all the other stuff that goes along with it. People point out specifically, and again, think what you want of AOC, that she's living in an apartment she clearly can't afford on her salary.
Right. Well, so what I would push back a little bit here is the way that the government of the United States was set up. It was set up to be run by the people.
Right.
And
Republic.
if we are looking at these politicians and say we don't like them and all that stuff and things from there, the person responsible is looking back at us in the mirror.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you say I don't vote because it's not going to count, oh, okay, I would say get out. If you
The
don't
problem, though,
want
is
to vote
not-
and other things, then go somewhere else.
But they don't. It's not that they don't want you to vote, though. What they want you to do is to vote out of anger instead of out of information.
Right. So
Oh,
I
we-
understand
and
there's a
also
whole that
like actual
machine-
actions, because they
Mhm.
could. There are things that are important. Like our infrastructure. They've been talking about an infrastructure bill for how long?
Yeah, but it's a
And-
dang
What,
old
and
bill.
our roads
their
are still
version
falling
of it-
apart, bridges are still falling down. Like,
But their version of
technologically,
it,
we're behind.
but you have to look at the version of the infrastructure bill that the Democrats are putting forth. Right? It has very little to do with rebuilding
any-
anything.
That's my
it's all about
point.
fixing inequity through roads, because roads be racist as shit.
That's my
But-
point exactly. Every
White
year,
lines
they talk
going
about
over
they're going
black
to do something about
lives.
infrastructure,
Disgusting.
and they
Just one
don't.
point when James done. Okay, so the infrastructure bill. None of that bit gets built by the federal government. The Tennessee Valley Authority went through and did stuff for roads and everything. Money came from the federal government, but it was all done by the states.
Right.
So any infrastructure bill sends money to the states. So the state determines how stuff gets run in Department of Transportation. And then you've got to participate in your local government to have them go and get the money from the Department of Transportation to fix the stuff around you. That's how that works from that standpoint. So I had a group here was going to build something in a place behind the house that we didn't like. We fought it. We got a bunch of people around. They decided to do it anyway. We went up to the Department of Transportation. They went, no, you can't build it there. It's going to screw everything up. Dead stop right there. So that didn't get done because of that. It was going to kill our property values. However, we did get this area that was a problem taken care of. After enough complaints, they finally spent enough money to fix it. So 100% the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
My point is
And-
that you shouldn't have to have a squeaky wheel. These people are getting elected. They
Right.
know what the problems are. They should be going into office with the intent of fixing them.
But
People shouldn't
then-
have to
And
beg and
that's-
plead
I-
their own elected officials to do
I
the right
100%
thing.
agree with you that that's the way it should be, but it's not that way. And
Well,
when they initially brought out and did the whole government of the United States, the only people who could vote were landowners, and they had to change that several decades later.
Right. Well, I think the problem though is really with the lobbyists. Like until you
Exactly. That's a good
until
one.
you
Yeah.
address the lobbyist, like infrastructure that we have inside of the government as if it is another branch of the government. It operates, gets, at the same level. And it everything starts there. Until you address that, nothing else matters, because all the power comes from who can pay the most to influence who. And it gets worse because every time that aides, that for a senator or for a representative, whenever they get like to a point, they're like, oh, okay, I get what's happening now. I get how things work. The lobbyists will grab them and be like, we will pay you so much more money if you just come work for us. Yeah, we're going to go work for you. So the turnover rate is very high. So you're constantly having inefficient and inefficient people in those positions that are supposed to be helping, and inexperienced people helping the representatives and the senators to be able to draft those bills to make change. But they're getting picked off from the lobbyists, and the lobbyists are putting in all this money to get done with what they want.
Exactly. And the PACs allow a lot of the funders to hide their identities, so that your average person doesn't necessarily know who their elected official is being paid by, who they're actually working for. And that's a huge
drain the
problem.
swamp. Gotta drain the swamp.
Yeah.
Simple.
And exactly. And it comes down to the lobbyists. And you'll hear, like, even Nancy Pelosi, like a couple years ago, whatever, when that last little bit happened, like they were going to address the lobbyists. They ain't done nothing to address it. Why? Because they know the money. Like, remember when she was asked about the whole basically insider trading, like, should everybody like have to reveal what they're investing in or whatever? She's like, well, no, we got to keep that private. Come on, they're still citizens.
Right. Exactly. They don't want us to know how deeply invested they are in some of these things that they are doing that are not helpful to the American people in the least.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, there was Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and Mitt Romney and McConnell all had kids on the boards of some company in Ukraine all at the same time. I mean, that's what it is. This is a economic class war within the United States. So, but again, I still think it's local. So I've got people that have been in the state where I am, have been as mayor and have been a state rep and all that stuff forever. And as soon as you get somebody out there that might beat them, suddenly you start getting all these made up stories. Right. I don't know what to believe is happening in Ukraine anymore. I just don't. And to the point that I don't care. Right. Because I can't get a true life story out of there. Do I feel bad for the people
only
that are
because I
suffering?
know that Russia themselves said they invaded. So
yeah.
So, but I don't know. I've got other things to do around me in my direct focus and sphere of influence. I can't deal with that. Right. I've got things to do in here. So I let go of that and I focus local.
By the way, just real quick, like the Democrats aren't really hiding what they're about. I got this text from Nancy Pelosi a while back, right? I shit you not, I'm going to read it to you. It's Nancy Pelosi. A report just revealed my Democrats could be locked out of the majority for a decade if we lose the House. I'm calling for a massive response like never before to build the infrastructure we need to defend our House majority. Can I count on you to rush $11 to the DCCCC headquarters account? So what's interesting, the infrastructure that they're talking about here in this text that I got was about defending their power that they have in the House, not the infrastructure for the roads and shit. They're not even hiding it. They're not saying, hey, help us help you get these things that you need. They're like, no, we want to keep our power. Give us money so we can do that.
that's one of the
Not
reasons,
even hiding it.
That's one of the reasons why I'm not as involved in my party as I used to be. Like, I was very involved in politics for years. As a matter of fact, even as a kid, my parents would drag me out to different political events. So we were always heavily involved in that. But these days, it's become all about power. That's the majority of the conversation. It's not about the people. It's not about what we can do to actually solve problems in the communities. It's about how can we structure our state and our districts in such a way that we maintain our majority if we have a majority, or how do we gain a majority if we don't? Not to do anything with it, but just to have it as a power play for the next election. It's like, what about in between the elections? What are you doing to actually solve some problems in the community, in the state, in the country between they're constantly running. They're constantly in campaign mode.
Absolutely. Yeah, because as soon as they get elected, they're right back on the phones because they have to raise enough money because as they're trying to serve, right? And I don't put this all on them at all, but as they're trying to serve in the House or the Senate, the people who are going to be running against them that next cycle are already putting out all of their hate, and they're watching everything they do, and they're going to have 2 years, right, to campaign against them while they are supposed to be working for the people in the government. But since they don't want to lose that position, as soon as they get elected, they have to start campaigning again immediately so that they can keep pace with their opposition that will be coming up right then, right? I think it's important, though, what we see with Texas and Florida specifically, and just the more that states can build themselves and separate themselves from the federal government, the better, because that's the way it was supposed to be in the first place. But that's something that needs to happen.
Wait a minute. Did Wes get a new haircut?
Yes,
Along with his new,
you did.
We cannot confirm or deny whether that is in fact Wes or not.
My genitals are confused.
In Monkey Jeebus, you see the same thing on the Republican side. I get those weird messages and emails constantly. One of the last meetings I went to, the focus was on redistricting. That was like the entire 1 hour meeting. And I'm sitting here like, you're trying to shore up your power base when your attitude should be, how do we steal votes from Democrats? How do we go into these communities who aren't historically voting Republican and convince them that we have the better plan? Like, why aren't we talking to people instead of trying to circle the wagons and carve out these little niches in these little seats? Like, it's
too hard, Jane.
No, that's not true at all. No, what it is about how much money they're going to spend on a district or an area that they're probably going to lose, right? If it's an area that is predominantly voting Democrat, you have to look at how much money you're going as the GOP or what have you is willing to spend to take in a candidate that has a very is very unlikely to have any chance of actually winning. When you could take that money and put it in a campaign that you have a better chance of winning. So that's really what it comes down to. Why you don't see them trying to go into these different areas. You'll see one or two, like there was the one Republican that was in the Baltimore area but didn't have the funding because no one thought she had a chance of winning.
Kim Klacik?
Yeah.
She covered a lot of ground and changed a lot of minds.
She did.
If she runs again, she will likely win.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. And when I was actively involved, one of the things that I was involved in was getting with the historically Black Greek letter organizations and the Republican candidates, as well as some Democratic candidates, but mainly Republican candidates, and hosting a town hall. In our version of, we don't really have an inner city in Louisiana, everything's rural, but in the predominantly poorer Black areas of town, they tend to vote Democrat. And they were incredibly well received because they actually showed up and talked to people in a real, not with talking points, but listened to what their concerns were and had a conversation with individuals and engaged them and were, there to take questions, tough questions, but they had real answers. And I think they moved the needle forward. That's what you have to continue to do. People want to know at the end of the day that you actually give a damn.
Right. And I that's the thing is, do you think that a candidate that is stumping on a YouTube channel, like especially one that's kind of regional, do you think that could be like, because YouTube people are thought of as authentic, or do you think a candidate could actually operate a YouTube channel and be authentic and have a better shot because they can engage directly with the people who might vote for them? Do you think that's a good strategy or no?
I think it is, especially if you're dealing with local YouTubers, going on their podcasts, going on their radio stations and TV shows and YouTube videos and talking with them and engaging the audience. Absolutely. But because a lot of these areas aren't the best in terms of technology, it's going to have to be an old-fashioned ground game.
Oh, sure.
You're going door to door.
Radio stations are important as well, but local radio stations, because even a YouTube channel, just because the YouTuber may be based in that area, that doesn't necessarily translate to like most of their subscribers being in that,
Yeah,
that
their
same
their
area.
audience could literally be in another country.
Right.
I just always thought it would be really interesting. It's like, hey, here are my views. I did some videos on my channel. This is, this is what I think. This is my platform. These are the planks of the platform these are the things I believe. And this is if you want to talk about them, I'm going to live stream, a couple times this month. Show up. It'll be a town hall thing. You can ask me whatever you want. We can have a conversation. I think that we're missing these opportunities to engage politically with candidates directly. And it was interesting because we have somebody obviously in our group of humans that we know that's running for office. Moira Kitty is running for Oklahoma governor, right? But we also have someone who has made appearances on a couple of channels that's running for a seat in Ohio. He showed up on Drew's Supreme Heretic stream, right? And so I'm starting to see that maybe politicians are looking that direction. I just think that they can have a lot more impact when they show up and if they have their own thing, if you have a channel and say, hey, I have a channel. You want to know what I think? Come listen to me talk. It's free. Come and check it out. I think it's free.
Yeah, but you have to get that message out to people for them to come check you out.
But you and Jane, illuminated ideas that could get people to engage there. Because again, it's like, who wouldn't want to be able to be in the chat? Like we have this amazing chat right here, right? That you could ask a candidate, what do you think of this? How come we aren't addressing this problem in our community?
And you can't stay in your little echo chamber either.
No,
like you have the entire purpose of it needs to be to get beyond your base.
Right.
Yes.
Leave no vote behind should be the order of the day.
Yeah.
But you're going to limit yourself, though, if you bring on local politicians like to any of our platforms now, right? Because we are so spread over the place as far as our viewership. So bringing in anybody local isn't really going to do them any good, and it's not going to do your audience any good to hear somebody that has no influence over their lives.
But that's at the same time, you're right, man. But I'm talking about if the candidate themselves takes the time, because I think a good ground game is playing everywhere you can play. Yeah, I've always thought that, because I mean, if you go door to door, knock and shake hands, that's good game. If you can get on the radio station, like you said, man, that's good game. If you do what Jane is suggesting, and you have these town halls where people can go and actually face to face with somebody, that's good game. I think candidates are ignoring opportunities like YouTube. I'm sorry. I mean, I saw Kim Klasik's commercials so many times, and I never skipped them. You know, the only
potential problem with YouTube, I feel, is that, like with TV, candidates can get too comfortable with this idea of yes men in their follower base.
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, because they're gonna want the super chats, or they're gonna want the high fives and all that, and that's only gonna come from people who already agree with you and who already like you.
Right.
But then your public forums, as you were suggesting, would be a good juxtaposition to that. Going to those areas where you're not as liked.
Right.
I think it's definitely a tool that's worth utilizing. Putting all eggs in one basket.
No. I wouldn't suggest. Grant, I wouldn't suggest that at all. I just think it's a tool to put in your toolbox. Indeed.
Yeah.
And I think another thing about that, Grant, is to speak even more to that. You could live stream your town hall. I mean, when you go to these places, or you could record it to to repurpose it later.
That's a bold strategy. Let's see how it pays off.
Yeah.
And use it to host debates with other YouTubers or other people in the community who may disagree with you.
Yeah, I mean,
if all else fails, get a beef with some up and coming TikToker, and then go have a boxing match with them.
No, I'm not talking about monetizing the channel either. I'm saying use it as political outreach. Use it as public outreach. I mean, I can't believe how quickly we've seen some of our fellow YouTubers grow. Imagine, with that kind of weight, how they would fare politically, right?
That's
because
the thing. It doesn't always translate. You look at someone like the guy Rudy Humongous, that guy that was accused of sexual harassment because he did the dad joke. He ran for office in his local area. He had hundreds of thousands of people watching him, and
Right.
he didn't even. I didn't even get 1% of the vote.
Oh
So
yeah,
it
no,
doesn't
I mean,
always. It doesn't
I'm
always
not,
translate.
I'm not saying
so.
it's. I'm not saying that's how you go about doing it. I'm just saying that's another tool in your toolbox. Because I mean, let's be honest. Chunk over at the
I was just thinking about him.
Chunky yogurt, yeah.
yeah, he did not do well. He did not
And
do
also,
well.
he also didn't spend that other $500,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I-
By the way,
allegedly.
how great is it that he like his channel is to the point to where he's over there groveling to his nephew, who's hitting it big on Twitch. You know what I mean?
After he fired
Come on,
him.
y'all know I'm right.
Yeah. I
Nobody?
mean, let's be fair. There's a difference between Cenk and Hassan. It's like Hassan can do the same job Cenk can do without even being in the same chair. He can literally walk away and earn more money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, like it's so bad because Chick has like this whole studio and all these people, and all Hassan has to do is sit there, and be like, nah, bro, that's not right. Banned.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some chicken nuggets because otherwise I'm gonna die.
Right? Yeah. What do
And
you want me to do? Die?
on that stream. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? Die? I can't just like.
Oh, but the difference
I
is
wasn't trying to go
he's a
down that road,
socialist.
but-
16-bit said start local, start talking about these things. The problem too, though, I think people will come to the town halls, but these candidates have to be willing to actually host more of them and not just in convenient locations. Because I think sometimes they're afraid of being challenged, especially if they're in it for the wrong reasons. Those who
I
go
mean,
into it for the right
that's a
reasons
fair-
often
that's a
will
fair
know more
fear,
about the
though, Jane.
subject.
I mean, you had a Republican guy who lost all of his elections because he went woo in a weird way. So any sort of
Howard
challenge,
Dean.
yeah, any sort of challenge. In England,
was
a
weird,
guy ate
though.
a sandwich and he looked sad, so he lost the election because of
Mhm.
that, because of all this sort of stuff. Like, I understand the fear of not getting challenged, but you're right, they do need to do that. But you need to have a candidate who has the fortitude, and more importantly, a better PR team.
But I think it's just they don't want to do all that. So it's just easier to say let's narrow our base as much as possible to guaranteed votes and call it a day.
But that's the problem. Everyone's doing that, and it doesn't work. It's just whoever already has the bigger pool of numbers. That's why what Trump did was insane. Getting on Twitter, directing people to his rallies and to his other things and to different spots. He used the platforms, and I think we need someone like that who's not afraid of the tools. Thank you, Darwin. He appreciates it. Yeah.
Well, that puts us to about 2 hours. I think that's how we're supposed to do it, right?
Yeah, 2 hours.
Yeah, we hit I don't know, every topic imaginable.
Did we?
Did we miss something? Mike Tyson punched the dude out. He should have known better. Who are you to talk shit to Mike
Bill
Tyson?
Murray's being Me Too'd.
Yeah, Bill Murray.
Again?
I've learned, don't.
Is that what that was?
It's not really a Me
Well, we don't
Too.
know yet.
Yeah.
He's being investigated for quote unquote inappropriate behavior, and they
behavior.
shut down his recent film over it.
Ooh.
It's a me also, potentially.
Oh, it's Bill Murray, man. Come on.
Ezra Miller's in jail again.
Actually,
I didn't-
one of his exes is speaking out about how she was
Oh.
treated.
What?
He,
Who,
he
Ezra?
took everything. He took everything.
Yeah.
No, he left the
Hashtag
chair.
abuser.
He left the
I'm
chair.
not-
We've just that's just the tip of the iceberg. We've just begun to find out what's going on with this psychopath, man.
Well, and that's what
There's
I
a
was
lot
saying
of-
before. Is I feel like this kid has been protected for years, and I think finally
Yeah.
they've gotten to this point where it's like we can't do this anymore. And I think he's being set up for to be escorted out of DC and whatever else and all that kind of stuff. That's why they're not protecting him anymore in the
But
press.
I mean, how many times you get arrested before you lose?
That's
Like,
just
this
it.
is
He
what-
got that's just it.
At
Last
least 10.
Did-
in the
Jane,
I
last
mean,
like-
month.
depends on where you're at on the scale of
yeah, because like
victimhood.
when this last time he got arrested a month ago, right? We had at that point found out that he had run-ins with the cops over 10 times in the last few weeks in Hawaii.
What? I did not know that.
Exactly. So like all this stuff has been getting covered up for the longest time. Just like when he choked that chick in Iceland. What happened with that? I went to try and grab some stuff for it for one of our recent videos. It's almost been completely scrubbed from the internet. There is some stuff out there about it still, but go try and find anything that came of it. Good luck. Nothing. You won't find anything.
The New York Post removed their article on it. So
Yeah,
did
and
the
some of
New
the other
York
places
Times,
remove their articles on it. Yeah.
CNBC, BBC all removed their articles.
What?
Yeah, good. The only places you can find it are like independent outlets and stuff like that.
That's weird.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
when is
So
the film? The film is supposed to drop.
not even
right?
coming
Like
out till June of next year. It was supposed to be out this year in November, and then they pushed it to June of next year.
Is he somebody's kid or something?
He's a kid actor, so he's been in the
Oh, yeah.
industry for years.
Well, he knows where the bodies are buried.
That's the other thing. And he was saying some really weird cryptic shit at the premiere of Fantastic Beasts, which has happened to coincide with the same weekend as the Oscars as the last time he got busted. So like, it's hard to say what is going on with him. He clearly has some mental issues. He's obviously drinking too much. Who knows what other, drugs he's intoxicated with to exacerbate the situation. But clearly somebody has to have an intervention with him or do something at this point, because he's off the rails, right? This goes far beyond a career. This goes far beyond, just going to jail or being punished in some way. He clearly has issues. And not only that, he has anger issues towards women.
He has
in
anger
general.
issues for
There
real.
is the women pieces. That's something they can't ignore.
Yeah.
Well, they have
This
been.
story's going to be around for a while. I kind of wanted to end it on a positive note.
Oh, the other story was the Black Constantine.
Positive.
All right. Well,
Black
I'll say.
Constantine.
I'll
Moon Knight's
start.
almost over.
Well, so what I actually what I really want to try, and I
I'm
should
trying to
have.
hit everything in the little.
Well, I
Yeah.
wanted to try something new. I probably should have told you all
Okay.
this before, but like I would like for everybody kind of, because everybody's talking about how all the current like content that we're getting across the board is pretty shit. I was wondering, like, if we could throw out some good ones. Like I've been
do
watching.
actually have one bit of semi good news. I don't know how many people are going to get excited for it though.
Okay.
David Lynch finally acknowledged his version of Dune for the first time in like 40 years, and he actually said that he wouldn't mind going back and revisiting it. So that means that the door is now open for David Lynch to possibly revisit his version of Dune, which, for those who know, you even asked him about it back in the day. He just shut you down. He didn't even want to talk about it. It was a bad thing for him. It was his
Well, you
only
did
real
Alien
major
3.
Hollywood experience before the TV show. What was it called? Twin Peaks. And it was just a bad experience for
Did he
him.
do Alien 3? Did he do Alien 3?
No, you're thinking of what's
That's
his face?
Fincher.
7 Fincher, yeah.
Okay,
Which
yeah.
I
I'd
get
like
him.
to
I
see
get him
his.
confused a lot of times too.
Yeah.
So.
One
But,
of them is really, really, really in their head when it comes to their filmmaking. The other one is only sort of.
David Lynch though is just he's a cut up.
You know what?
He's
Real quick,
great.
guys, y'all don't have to stay, but Grant, one of you guys, if you guys could stay, I kind of want to stay until we get 250 for Scott. So if you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and hit the like button while I tell you about one of the good shows that I'm watching now, Outer Range with Josh Brolin. Loving it so far. 4 episodes and have no idea what's happening, but I'm into whatever it is. It's been pretty impressive, especially the acting. And if you want a series that's already done, Severance on Apple TV is one of the best I've
Absolutely
seen
amazing.
in years. It is so good. And if you juxtapose that with what they're doing in Moon Knight, that's supposed to be a character study, it is night and day. Severance, the way that they, and Ben Stiller,
Moon Night and Day.
Ben Stiller was the perfect director for Severance. Just everything
So
that
good.
so good, right?
It is
Anybody-
top tier television.
Yes. I can't wait until the second season. The writer went on Reddit to answer some of the questions. Didn't give any answers about the goats. But
That's on
Jim's
Apple.
the only one that knows.
Prom
it.
is also good on Epics, I think.
What's that?
It's called From.
I loved From. Are you serious?
Yeah, season 1.
I loved it. I thought it was
so
great.
good.
I can't wait till the second. Another one on Epics was I've never heard about it until From. There's another one called Chapelwick.
I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, that's with Adrian Brody. If you liked From, that one's
Ooh.
We are over 250 likes.
all right. There we go. Oh, and The Contractor was a good movie too. I watched that not
You still
too
have
long
to
ago.
pay
A
me
couple weeks
$20
ago.
though, Scott.
There's too many streaming services
Right
though,
here.
man. I can't keep up with all this stuff.
No,
True.
I don't care.
Well, I'll say this: Epics
Yeah.
has been worth it, man. Like, just those 2 series alone were really good. From and Chapelwick. Definitely.
From that's the guy that has the black fella from Romeo and Juliet and Lost.
You know, are you
Yes,
trying
it
to
does.
say-
Yeah. What's
Are you trying to say Chappaquiddick?
No, Chapelwick. Look,
Okay.
man, just Google it.
Chapelwick.
It's on
Chapelwick.
Epics. They don't have that many shows. You'll figure it out. It's there.
See, Tina is riding with Moon Knight. I don't know, man. It's like
He
I tried
likes
that.
it.
I tried
Well,
that.
I love
just-
Tina.
Oh,
It wasn't
What do you
grabbing me,
think?
man.
Mark, I watched the first episode and was so angered and enraged because they destroyed this comic that I freaking loved.
Yeah.
That I was done.
Dude, you
Yeah.
should
Yeah,
wait
it
till you
gets
see Mark
worse.
Spector scream at a hippo like
gets
a little
worse.
girl. That was so good.
So I think
Moon
now
Knight is one of the worst shows on television.
Uh-oh, Tina, cover your ears.
Dude, I'm telling you, if you watch Severance and
It's
then try to
worse
go
than
back,
Loki.
oh yeah, try to go
Worse
watch
than
Severance and
Loki?
then go back and
No,
try to watch Moon
Loki
Knight.
was worse.
It's-
Loki did way more damage.
Wow. That's
Hold
saying a
on,
lot,
hold
I
Jan.
love you, Tina.
I expect to see all of you, the 250 of you that drop likes, to show up tomorrow for the Sunday Culture Review, please. I would appreciate it.
Wow. Anyway, so yeah, that's gonna do
What?
us.
I'm supposed to promote my stuff. Fine. I'm leaving. Bye.
Okay, and anyway, yeah, make sure that you subscribe to everybody on the panel. There are mostly really cool people, except for anyway, so that's gonna do. Anybody have anything important they need to say before we get out of here?
Love you all.
Keep vamping. I'm looking for the end credits.
I would like
Oh,
to
okay.
share-
Well, we'll keep vamping.
I would like to share a word from our sponsors.
Oh, yeah, we have a sponsor. Yes, please share it. Okay, here it comes, everyone.
You got it? Is it up?
Yeah, except you need to go full screen with it.
Okay.
You ready? There we go. A word from our sponsor.
Hello again, internet's people. Welcome. I am here to talk again about the Netflix taking away themselves from the Russians. And I'm very upset, but I have a solution for everybody that will make things work perfect. I have started my own new service called Netflix. That's right, Netflix. I will come to your house personally and show you one of my 3 videotapes. Now, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of movies to start with. This is a problem, but we're working on it. Right now, we have Back into the Future. We have Smokey and the Bandit. And we have All Dogs in Heaven. Now, I must say right up front, All Dogs in Heaven was accidentally taped over by some stupid son of a bitch with half of a football game. So I'm not having any ideas of if Dog goes to heaven or not. And he sounds just like the Bandit, which I really like. So sign up today for Netflix. We're working on getting new movies all the time. I have a friend who has Jurassic Park The Lost World 2. And I'm thinking if I trade him All Dogs in Heaven for Lost World, will be good trade for me. So call us today to sign up for Netflix.
Oh, that's fucking brilliant. Love it. Bye, everybody.
Have a good.
Fucking my wife's mouth. I'm going to, okay?
Felt like it was a pretty good show. The ending was weird. Scott, you're welcome that I got you so many viewers and likes. I'm the best host there is. I do it all myself. Good night, everybody.
He did it all by himself.
Netflix.